Hello everyone and welcome back. It's Creative Redundancy back again here with another video. Pardon me. Now in this video, it's gonna be a random creation mode. Plus chit chat, talking about creating. And so I would like to see what you guys like to create. So basically it's just gonna be an open creation mode, and I'm pretty much winging it live. Alright, let's load up the chat here. See what's going on with everyone. Yo, Jason, what's up, man? How's it going? Thanks for dropping by. Alright, I'm gonna whip up the intro here. What's up, everybody? Live long and prosper. Yeah, I know, my hands are kind of dirty. I was kind of messing around with something earlier, so I still got that soot over my hands still. Probably should go wash my hands. But I'm gonna be dealing with stuff, so it doesn't really matter right now. Alright, let's see what's going on here. Jason asks, can you reuse a coffee filters to filter dirty water in a survival situation? Well, you can pre-filter it, because it's not fine enough to hold back anything biologically hazardous to you, like bacteria and such. But you could use it to pre-filter, then maybe, you know, run it through a pre-filter like that and then boil it. You know, get most of the sediment out, most of the bugs out, most of the bigger particles out. Hey, it's the Prepared Boy Scout. What's up, man? How's it going? Thanks for dropping by. Thanks. How's it going, man? Yeah. So, live creation mode. What have I been up to? Well, everyone knows, well, I've mentioned it a few times, and I mentioned it on live streams, and I mentioned it on live chats and comments here and there that relate to that, but I've talked about the hot candles. Now, I used to actually make these kind of survival candles. Now, they're also known as a buddy burner. Basically, it's corrugated cardboard, you add wax in. Well, after using it for a few times, since I just kind of found out that it's not as, I wouldn't say reliable, but it's more, it becomes harder to use over time. So I actually used to have one in this, and the reason that my hand's underneath is because I actually removed the bottom of it to get it out, because I need to, as you can see, get that wax out. But basically what I found while using a buddy burner, that just the top would burn, and you know, maybe after a few times of using it, you're not gonna be able to burn the top anymore, because even though there's wax underneath, it's so far away that this cardboard won't want to draw it out. So basically it would just smolder at the top. So I went away from that, and now I make hot candles. And that's why there's a hole at the bottom of this, because I actually took one of my Victorinox can openers and kind of opened it up, because this buddy burner wasn't doing anything for me. As you can see on this side, I barely even burnt it, and basically it would stop burning and go out. So I decided, nope, reclaim the wax, use the cardboard for something else or whatever, and be done with it. Put this away here real quick. See what's up with everyone. What's up, Matthew? Oh, that's good to hear, the Prepared Boy Scout. What's up, 321 Jesse James? The average prepper in the house. Welcome. Hey, Nathaniel, Adventures. What's up, man? I'm doing good. Good. Thank you for asking. Alright, I guess the Prepared Boy Scout's gotta go. Alright, I'll catch you later, man. Take care. Matthew, you need to PM me privately. So, anyways. So, what do I randomly make? Let's see. I've made random magnetic stickers, like this one right here. Who could tell what this is? And yes, you're just looking at the magnet part right now. Any guesses on what this is? You might have seen this already. I think I might have shown this on a live stream already. Of course, I've made a magnetic YouTube thingy, just for kicks. Let's see, what else I've been up to? I mean, just kind of reorganizing a few things, making the system in terms of like being home, my area where I like to do work with or create with. I've been trying to make the system or the setup even better so it's more functional. Maybe utilizing space better, especially vertical space, because vertical space is usually not utilized fully in any given area, especially at home. Because the more vertical space you can use, the more horizontal space or floor space you have open, which when you look at it for the first time or with fresh eyes, you kind of think, oh, the room looks so big, just because you can see the floor. Of course you would know. Yes. My Iron Man magnet. Which just happens to be below my webcam right now that I'm using. So let's get back onto this topic of random creation, right? I guess the first thing I'm gonna do, since I was actually working on trying to get the wax out, is I'm probably gonna take the remainder cardboard that's been saturated with wax. I'll probably lay this flat and kind of treat it like maybe like birch bark. No. Maybe I'll cut it into strips. Well, not strips, but very small sheets that I can fit in a baggie and put them inside and I'll use them up as I can. Maybe I'll add them. Pardon me. Maybe I'll add them to a pack or whatever, into a bag or whatever that I can use. Let's just say I've tried a few pieces. Yeah, it definitely flares up because it's been saturated and there's a lot of surface area and it's quite thin. And there's little air channels, so there's a lot of room or space for the oxygen to come in to, you know, feed the flames from this. So let's see, what else? What else? What else? I guess I'll show this one thing off. Hold on a sec here. Now, if anyone's seen my last video about the snow, where I kind of went for a snow type of walk, hike. Well, one thing I didn't show is because, well, it was with the camera, but it's kind of, for lack of a better word, a tripod or a monopod. Something I made here. Now this used to be a lantern. Something I found. Since I used a digital camera, I put in a 7/16 bolt in. Something to tighten it, and basically now I have a kind of like a model or a tripod I can put on over my hand, so I can be like this, or if the camera was facing away from me, I just turn it around so it can face me. So it's just something I made from scraps. Now I've also shown this off before, sort of, but because it used to be actually the lid for my wooden pen, but I decided to change that out. I drilled a hole at the top on the side, and there's a hole over here. Now eventually I'll plug it this side a little and try to see if I can make an improvised kind of whistle musical sound emitting device, for lack of a better word. I just have to find the perfect thing to block like half the air channel, and I'll see if it works, see how loud it is. You know, maybe depending on how that goes, I might be able to make one that's louder so it actually sounds more like a whistle than a flute. So it's higher pitch, louder, and not so low sound. Let's see, what else? The one like that. Let's see here. Oh, yes. Another thing I've been sort of messing around with, I'll probably have to see. I'll probably have to change out the tip for it, but for anyone that's used to have like old school flip phones and stuff like that, there's you might have had like specific chargers for it and stuff like that. Now, I bought this a while ago for a battery. It's basically a battery bank. Now, this was specifically for the flip phone that I had, as you can see. I've been debating on trying to make something with it and see how much. I'll have to see how much power comes out and see what I can run off of it. Basically, a AA would go in here and would put power back into my flip phone that I had during that time. So it's something I'm working on. Might be good enough for like an LED light, for example. So, you know, I just plug it in. Now see if I can get more these tips right here, so I can actually use this with other stuff. So instead of throwing this away, because I don't have to charge that phone anymore, I decided to see if I can try to reuse this in some way. Now another thing I've been working on is, this item I got gifted from Rob from the Off-Grid Tiny House. Now I'll try to end screen or queue it up in the card later after this video's done, but basically he sent me a USB LED light right here. Oh, and if or when Rob sees this, thanks by the way. This has actually been quite cool to use. I've used it a handful of times, usually with a battery bank. But what I'm trying to do still is make it a kind of more waterproof or something. Well, what I found was this USB kind of, you know, thing you would put on the end of a USB cable. So this would go over the end of the USB cable. Just happens to fit over. Oh, wrong side. Just happens to fit over this. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I'll have to see. Maybe I'll do something with it so it's not clear. Maybe make it into a diffuser for it or something like that. I'll have to see. Maybe I'll hot glue it or something like that. I'll have to see. I guess since I have it, I'll turn it on. Hold on a sec. Let me get this battery bank out here so I can actually plug it in. So basically this is how it looks, as you can see. It's nice and bright. Very nice and bright for what it was. It's a warmer color, it's not as white, but it's pretty bright. I kind of use it with usually with a retractable type of cable. So like this retractable USB cable that I got a while back. Well, and since I've been talking about battery banks for a little bit here, I also have this battery bank right here in the container. It actually has a mini USB cable with the battery bank, and I'll kind of go through the battery bank later. You'll probably see it in a different video. Something I acquired. to the side. So let's see, what do I have randomly laying around right now? Well, a little bit earlier I kind of pulled apart a keyring for the hell of it. Yeah, I was just seeing how strong it was. It wasn't that strong because the keyring is a loop that goes around, so you can actually pull that loop apart. Well, what I did, and eventually I'll try it out and hopefully it'll work, but what I did was I'm trying to make a hook with it, maybe a fishing hook. I gotta sharpen that side, maybe turn this a little so it's more well, so it can't get pulled through or whatever. So I'm thinking of making a fishing hook from this part of the keyring. Have I ever done it? No. Should it work? Yeah, I think so. Especially if it's got bait on it. You know, put a leader on there, put my fishing line against the leader, and all that stuff. I still have to sharpen it, so it's actually sharper. But something I'm trying to play around with, see if it works. Did I not? Oops. Oh, oh my gosh. I did not. Thank you for mentioning that, Kaylynn. I guess I forgot I forgot that went back into the settings from the last live stream to mute it more live my mic, and I forgot to check that. So forgive me, everyone. Sorry. I'm sorry. I probably should actually restart the stream, but whatever. So if you're watching, I'll probably queue up a time in the comments so you can actually come to this point where you can actually start hearing me. So forgive me that anyone that can hear me earlier, I should have changed that. So yeah, thanks. Hey, it's Bent Out of Shape. Welcome, man. Happy trails hiking. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you. And good evening to you too. So let's see. I'm surprised no one actually told me that they can hear me well, because I don't actually have it in my ear what I'm saying, so, or listening to it play back, so sometimes I forget to jack up the volume in this case. So let's see. I guess I'll say hi to Nathaniel's Adventures again, since now he can hear me. Of course, everyone else that's been coming by, including the prepared Boy Scout who had to go, Matthew, J-Sam, 321, Jesse James. How Mila's having fun again, hey? I see Kaylynn. Wants to stir my sticker making. Oh, that's cool, that's cool. That's cool. A batch of channel stickers. I've been kind of messing around with stickers earlier. Just making them into with those kind of fridge magnets and kind of making stuff out of them, like this Avengers one. And of course, I got my YouTube magnet. Just kind of took an old fridge magnet, put the sticker on, cut the outline out, and what I did afterwards, I used like a clear gloss or a polish to just coat the top of it, let that dry, so it's a little bit more resistant, I guess, for lack of a better word. That's why you could see how shiny it is. Especially this one too. You can see how shiny they are. Because they got that clear coat on him. And hopefully it'll preserve the sticker part of it. Okay, thanks Nathaniel. I should have checked OBS before I went on. Usually I do, but I guess I just assume this time, unfortunately. And I forgot from the last time I did this that I kind of muted it at the end. So, yeah. Or who knows, maybe I dragged the bar over or whatever by accident and I didn't even realize. But anyways, I guess everyone can hear me now, which is good. Oh, that's really cool, Kaylynn, that you do kind of homemade DIY stickers. That's cool. Maybe I'll consider that one of these days. But in the meantime, so I'll probably be reusing this fridge magnet. It's a dentist thing or whatever, right? You don't need to see the other side, but I'm gonna reuse this eventually. Not sure, depending on what fits over, well, on the other side fits over top, and I'll see. You know, maybe I'll have one that says creative on it or something like that. So, I guess, thanks for the idea, Kaylynn. I'll kind of see if I can do it myself too, and maybe make a creative fridge magnet or something like that. Let's see. Oh, that's cool, Nathaniel. You bought another fire starter? That's cool. Drop a comment in the side chat of which one, if you don't mind. Unless you're gonna show it off later in the video, then, you know, I think me and everyone else could wait. Strike a fire. Oh yeah, I've seen that before. I've seen that from different channels. It's like a big, like, compressed type of tinder that has like a match head, as far as I know. I've never used one. I've seen people use them. I've heard mixed reviews about them. I mean, I've seen one video where it didn't work against wet wood. So, I don't know much about it besides that though. Oh, that's really cool. Happy trails hiking. Speaking of reusing candle wax, that's what I did earlier. I had to reuse a fire starter that I used to use. Used to make them. I used to make buddy burners, but now I make hot candles instead. And like I said earlier, and obviously now people can hear me better. Yeah. Let's just say this used to be the top, and I barely even burnt it. But I'm not gonna get back into that again. Let's just say I've realized a couple of the flaws for a buddy burner, and that's why I go towards a hot candle now, because I can burn it all the way down. These buddy burners, depending on the height, you might not be able to burn them all the way down because the cardboard doesn't want to wick up. especially if you decide to use these heaters, uh, emergency candles in this case, more than a few times. Because after a few times of using a buddy burner, you'll find that it's very hard to keep the flames at the top. And it pretty much smolders out. So that's why I kind of went away from those. And now I make hot candles. Then I can actually flip the tinder in it, or turn it, or mix it, and stuff like that, and remove the excess ash out too. So I just find those are a little bit more reusable. I can use them more than 3, 4, 5 times. I mean, I have one out in the garage that I've used all season, and I think I've reused that, added more wax in, probably at least 10 times for 15 minutes, give or take. Quick hand warmer. Maybe I'm doing something in the garage. It's minus 20 out. Gotta keep my hands warm, so I'll use that. Yeah, making candles is fun. I know I keep a little dish. Well, not a dish, but a little metal lid, for example, like this one right here, which isn't the one I actually use because it's kind of packed away here. But basically what I would do is melt wax into here, so it's and allow it to develop that crust, for lack of a better word, on the top. Stick it in water or put it in the freezer so it freezes, and pop it out and use it as kind of like a wax coaster, for lack of a better word. And basically I can store those wax coasters, and when I need to use the wax again, break it, use it for a fire starter, melt it with something else, I can just break them, add them in, and go from there. So they're more manageable, especially all this random wax. These big pieces of wax, especially like all this wax right here. Let's see what you guys are talking about real quick here. Okay, that's cool, Nathaniel's Adventures. Yeah, I also make a whole bunch of fire starters too. Let's see what he said. Nathaniel said, but I thought about buying some, laugh out loud. I dipped some twine in wax and left the end dry. That works pretty good. Actually, Nathaniel, I found you don't necessarily need to do that with the jute twine, because all you have to do is just fluff it up. It takes a spark. I've shown it in a video before with a fire kit. I mean, it takes a spark, even from a weak spark from from a lighter, especially if it's fluffed up, like pulled apart and all that stuff. It'll take a spark, even from a dead lighter. So I personally don't think you need to leave the top dry, but you can do whatever you want, right? It's your fire starter, not mine. Let's see what else. Yeah. Oh, okay, that's cool. Happy trails hiking. Thank you for um bringing more attention to this live stream. That's cool. Let's see. HTH said, oh yeah, fire is fun. Fire is fun, but let's all remember how dangerous fire can be. It's one of those things where, as as useful as fire is, boils your water, cooks your food, signals, keeps you warm and all that stuff. Let's remember how dangerous and destructive fire can be. It's one of those things you gotta pay attention to, and for lack of a better phrase, don't let it burn you. Because if it burns you, you're gonna be in a world of hurt. Wow, I guess you changed your channel name, Reaper. Welcome, Reaper Malicious Sidetracked Outdoors and Gearaholic. Awesome, man. Oh, okay, okay, okay. That's cool, that's cool. Have fun at work. You know, I don't know what else to say. Have fun at work. Yeah, campfires are awesome too. Happy trails hiking. Let's see. What you guys are writing about? Okay, Kaylynn. A few days ago, I made another small batch of fire starters. I dipped the wads of dryland, sisal rope, and pieces of cardboard boxes. Okay, that's cool. I have a slightly different version or way of making tinder with a cardboard boxes. I've kind of shown it before in the past, back in 2016, but I kind of figured out a way to kind of make the process a little faster with power tools. Yeah. So, but cardboard boxes, like corrugated cardboard, like not corrugated for cardboard, but well, this is corrugated cardboard, but even normal cardboard, you know, that doesn't have anything on it or whatever. I mean, if you kind of, for lack of a better word, grind it down, you can grind it down into like something fluffy. Actually, what the hell? I was gonna save it for a video, but basically what I do with the corrugated cardboard, what I do, I whip it up in a blender. Now, when you're doing this, you gotta be careful because it's dry material, so the material actually starts getting warm, so, you know, probably burst it every so often. Let it cool back down after 20 seconds of blending, so it cools back down. But basically what happens is, let's see if I can get that. Wow. Basically what happens is it becomes very fine and fluffy, and that can actually take a spark quite well and be used to make fire starters with wax and stuff like that. It works quite well, and you can actually take that and make it into a shape and stuff like that. So in theory, you could make whatever you want with it. Add what's it called, a match on the top, do all that stuff. Let's see. I also redip the wicks that gone from the candles that I melted. You know, the candles that I use, that I break to use the wax, the wicks, I actually keep those in an M&M container. Oh, actually, I have it right next to me. So I keep wicks in this. So you'll see a whole bunch of white wicks in here. And on the outside, I just have drier wick. You know, that's not impregnated with anything like wax or anything like that. So I keep all those wicks. You know, especially some of the longer wicks, because I actually could, in theory, wrap it around like a lighter, use it as a flame extender, kind of like a hemp wick. Not quite, but similar. Let's. Oh hey, Yankees. Blah. Yankees Adventure. I'm sorry. Yankees Outdoor Adventures. Hello, welcome to my live stream. Thanks for dropping by. Oh, by the way, Yankee, I appreciate the offer. I'll try to get something out to you as soon as I can. Let's see. falling behind on the chat here. Yeah, happy trails. Yep, that's what I do too. If I decide not to recycle it, or if I need tinder, that's what I do. I reuse the cardboard. Of course, safety first, right? You don't want to get burned, so to speak. Let's see. Yeah. I see it's gonna be a long trip for you. Hey, Reaper. Well, I guess I'll keep live streaming to keep you entertained until you get to your job site. You'll be like super excited. You'll be like, yeah, I gotta get to work and do all this stuff. Hopefully. Let's see. Happy Trails hiking. I actually know Yankee. He actually, well, yeah, you already know. Let's see. You know, maybe I should have renamed this live stream to like Firestarter instead of random creation mode. But I guess, you know, the live stream is wherever I take it or wherever the side chat takes it. So let's see. Oh, no problem, Yankees. Outdoor Adventures. Thank you for dropping by. You know, I appreciate you coming by. Everyone knows Yankee. That's good. That's good. That's good that you guys can just instantly socialize. That's cool. Jesus, it's getting so warm in here. I gotta take off my jacket right here. Let's see. Random creation mode, hey? I mean, well, not really random, but I made this before, but it's no paracord bracelet. I just kind of made this just for the hell of it. Why? Just because I can. But I don't know. Looks cool, I guess. Just some cordage. And on the inside of it, let's see. That's rubber right there, so it's got a rubber center, I guess. So I guess it stretches. I've used this a handful of times. These are actually quite these kind of paracord cordage type bracelets are actually more useful in their created state than I realized, because I've realized helping friends, family, you know, with like groceries, for example, like those reusable tote bags or grocery bags. Well, what I found is I just clip it around the handles, so I go around the handles, and it allows me to pick up multiple bags, and the bags don't dig into my hand, especially if the weight's heavy and stuff like that. So just something, you know, a tip or whatever. I find it's useful. I mean, like, you're not gonna break the plastic just by carrying groceries, even like pop or milk, because it's not heavy enough. Like, I'm not gonna, you know, suspend myself just with this, because it'll probably break. But for groceries, carrying groceries, to help carrying groceries, it might be useful. That's awesome, Nathaniel's Adventures. Dang, everyone's in creation mode. I guess it really is random creation mode. Yeah, Nathaniel Adventures made a hammock earlier today out of a tarp. And apparently he tried it out and he fell asleep, so I guess that's a good test. I mean, if you can fall asleep with it and relax, and You know, it supports your weight throughout that whole time. Could be good. Or in this case, it is good. I've never done that yet. I've actually taken uh, uh, a shower curtain, like a shower curtain liner that, you know, you see everyone has in the washroom, a bathroom, and stuff like that. You know, that goes over the current. That, you know. Well, I've taken one of those and I made a tube tent from one of those, especially some of the bigger ones and some of the thicker, more durable ones. I'm hoping to try it out. And I actually did that without sewing. Yeah. It holds together. I'll have to wait to try it out, but in the meantime. Hey, if it works, right? Let's see. Exactly, Yankee. You know, if you're falling asleep with a sleep system, hammock, tarp, for the conditions, right? For the conditions that you currently subjected to, right? You know, if it gets colder, yeah, you might have to bring, you know, more blankets, cover, and stuff like that. But, you know, it gives you a good baseline, I guess, for what you're creating. Which I like to have too, a good baseline for when I'm in creation mode, or, well, after it's created, I like to try it out, test it out, and just see. Gives me a good base to gauge it by. No problem, Reaper. No problem. Let's see. Alright, Happy Trails Hacking. Thank you for dropping by. It was a thank you. It was a pleasure to have you by. Uh, Alright, good night, man. Take care. Let's see. Nathaniel Adventure said about the tarp, yeah, it was nice. Laugh out loud. He says, I need a 9x7 tarp instead of an 8x6, though. Yeah. I mean, I guess the larger the tarp, or shower curtain liner, in my case, you know, get more area. Um, Nathaniel, did you sew this, or, like, along the edges, have it, uh, folded over, or something like that? You know, prevent kind of splitting or fraying up the material. Just curious. Alright, since random creation mode, right? Let's see what you guys can... I know what I could do with this, personally, but let's see what you guys can randomly do with this. This red bottle right here. It's got one of those safety lids that you have to push down, for example. Of course, it's red. This used to have multivitamin kind of gummies inside, as you can see. Any ideas about this? I know I have a few ideas, but you know, I want to see what you guys could do with something like this if you had this right now in front of you. I mean, obviously it's a container, so obviously I can store stuff inside. It's red. Maybe I can store fire starters inside. It's already red already. Maybe, well, I'm not gonna do it because I got a lot of first aid kits already, but red, first aid. I know that I've taken one before and kind of made very simplistic type of survival kit for a friend, my friend's mom. Like, she keeps cordage, a lighter, and stuff like that inside of something like this, and she just puts it into her vehicle and as part of additional gear like a blanket and jumper cables and stuff like that. So if she ever needed a cordage or a lighter for some reason, well, she got hers version of it. Actually, on hers, I've actually also added reflective kind of material, like foil tape or reflective type of tape around it so it stands out too. I mean, these aren't waterproof, like you're not going to be able to submerge it, but in the rain it should be fine. So let's see what you guys are talking about here. Okay, Yankee Man, thank you for dropping by. You're always welcome, and have a good night too. Let's see. Okay, on the panel. It was already done up. You just kind of added the cordage onto it. Although it may still need to be tweaked a little. Okay. You know, maybe made... Can you... On yours, can you add, like... Let's say... sticks on the side or whatever for support? So it does... It's less likely to tip one way or the other. I know I've shown another hammock that has actual sticks or rods that go through to add more stability, so just kind of wondering. Kaylynn, as far as I know, this is not waterproof. It'll float, but because the lid can rotate on its own, I don't think, now without modifying it, tape, glue, or whatever, epoxy or something like that, without something like that, I don't think this is going to be able to handle being submerged. So once it goes underwater, it'll start leaking water in, and then it'll start gradually sinking because water gets in. So I don't think that will work, but that's a good suggestion or an idea. Might not work with this, but it could work with something else. That's good. Okay. Nathaniel said, I would use it to hold charcoal or water, a fish trap, put a flashlight in it, and use it as a signaling. You know what? This is when I got this from my friend, who, like, you know, because they were at the bottom of it, and I asked them on my way out if I could have this. Now, let's see here. I tried this out with a light. It's can work per se, but with a white light, what I found was... Just give me a second. Let me go get a light here. Oh, yeah. Forgetting it's hanging on my chair right now. I'm just gonna grab a flashlight here that actually fits this. But basically, now I've shown this flashlight before, and yes, I still have this. It's been modified since the last time. See, it'll work in here, but as you see here, that light source still looks white. Like, it's not as white. Right, it's not as white, but it's still white. I have another container that I acquired that's kind of makes it more red. So you could use something like this, like, for signaling purpose as a diffuser for a light source. But I think there would be better options than that. And as far as charcoal, It might work. Not sure, because it's not completely waterproof. Humidity could get inside, and make the char cloth more damp than usual. As I try to keep char cloth in a sealed container, keep it as dry as possible, away from humidity, so it doesn't absorb any humidity. And as far as for water, yeah, you could store water here before boiling or filtering it. Yeah, that's true. You could do that. A fish trap, maybe. I guess you would notice the fish trap if you put it underwater, because you're not gonna really see red underwater, so I'm pretty sure that would stand out. Maybe put a rock in there, some way to allow the fish to come in, but it's very hard for them to get out. This container is not that tall though, so I mean, you might be able to catch fish in it, but it's nowhere near as big as some of these air fish traps. I mean, this is only about 5.5 inches tall, or about 14 centimeters tall, and about 3 inches, or about 7.5 centimeters wide. So you're not gonna get a really big fish in this, unfortunately, but maybe you can get a little baby fish, I guess. Or maybe you could use it for like crustaceans. Maybe get crustaceans like crabs and stuff like that to get in there, and they'll be kind of trapped in there, for example. That might work. Because crustaceans are smaller too, so it might work. I don't know. That's a good idea. Well, let's see here. What are you guys talking about? Yeah, that's a good idea, Kaylynn. It might work for a float. I haven't tried that out yet. I'm not sure, because like I said, water might get in, so if you start dragging it down, it might take water in. But of course, you can seal that with tape or whatever. I guess you could use pine pitch to kind of help seal it, I guess. Might work. About the night vision with the red, it's not quite, it's still a little too white. I have another bottle it looks more red. Like, I use that day to day, because I actually use it as a kind of a biking diffuser when I go out biking. And I'll go for that in a different video, but basically, I use that one instead. Like I said earlier, I was considering on using this for that, but after trying it out, it still looked too white, and I needed something more red. So the color, when you look through it, it kind of still lets a lot of the white light in. It's not as red as something else. Let's see here. Yo, it's Jeep Things Outdoors with Johnny. What's up, man? Hello? And I'm sorry that my hands are kind of black, but I've been handling fire starters and ash and stuff like that in the last little bit, so. And I figured since I was already gonna be handling this fire stuff, there was no point in washing my hands yet until after, because I knew I was just gonna get them dirty, like, right after anyways. Let's see what Kaylynn said. Make a bug trap in it. Put something in the bottle that attracts bugs, but once they hit the bait in liquid, they drown. Yeah, that's possible. Maybe with wasps or hornets or a mosquito trap or something like that. Might work. I've seen that happen. Maybe put in some OJ, a little bit more water, so it's sweet. So as soon as they get in there, they can't. Their wings get wet. They can't fly, and they start drowning, and you go from there. That's a good idea. And of course, I just dump it out, or I guess I could filter out the bugs out and still reuse the liquid. So yeah, that's a great idea, Kaylynn. Good. Minnows for bait. Yeah, that could work. Let's see. Nathaniel said, as for the tarp, when you set it up, you can pull the sides up, and it's actually quite steady. Don't want to tip or anything, and your weight makes the sides tight so you couldn't roll out or anything. Okay, that's good. I mean, you don't want to roll out of your hammock, because that'd be a rude awakening at night. Okay. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll even use like baking soda just to help me as well, baking soda in terms of cleaning is a whitening agent. Like obviously it's not like bleach or whatever, but like it'll kind of make things whiter. That's why you'll see it in like you might see that the DIY detergents that you can make. Usually they have like borax and some baking soda in there. I've used baking soda to clean off my hands a little, especially if they're extremely dirty, where soap and water isn't quite enough. And that abrasive action, well, characteristic of the baking soda helps me, get the dirt off or whatever's on my hands off better. And yes, I've actually shown that off before in a different video. It was actually my first video. Yes, that was the first video I did. My first video was about baking soda. Alright, let me just put this light back in here. Alright, since let's see what you guys can do with this. A can that has no top or bottom to it, because I actually had to open this up to get the buddy burner out so I can actually reuse the wax and use the cardboard as a fire starter for a different kit, bag, or whatever. I'll use that up still. But what could I reuse this for? Yes, I can recycle it. If I can't figure out something I can use with it, maybe I'll recycle it. I mean, in theory, if I drill punch a bunch of holes inside, maybe use it to put a fire starter in there or something like that. Put something on top. That might work. I could talk like this. Just kidding. I don't know. Any ideas? Wow, it's kind of funny. I just came up with something like literally ad lib, but this can that I have. Of course, now I can't get it out. Go figure. This can I have, which I just showed. Apparently, it fits the cork that I've shown before quite well. So, but now I can't get that cork back out. Oh, okay, there we go. I got the cork out. So apparently, I guess I can put the cork at the bottom of this can. I don't know why, but I mean, I don't know what I'm gonna use this for still. Besides, I mean, I can recycle this, like I said, if need be. Let's see what you guys got here. Yeah. That's a great idea. G-Things Outdoors. Like, exactly, I can use it with, like, with a rocket stove. Right, if this was a can right here, make it as an opening. So, I might do that. With a bigger can, stick it in there, make it as an opening, maybe have a flap in there, so, like, a channel like that, so air can still come at the top, but I could still put in fuel at the bottom. That's a good idea. Keep that in mind. Might use it for that reason. Let's see. Yeah, okay, that's a great idea too, Kaylynn. You guys are coming up with great ideas. Yeah, windscreen. It's a little small. I wouldn't say small, but there's not a lot of surface area. So, you know, it might block a certain degree of the wind, but it might be better if I used a bigger can than this. It's kind of small. Like, I'm not gonna get much in the way of surface area. Because it's only like, let's say, as I measure it here, its circumference, as in measurement of going around a circle, in this case, is about 8 inches. So if I brought out my tape measure, it would be about that long, and about that long, and about 4 inches like that. So it might work for something smaller, but I think a bigger can would be better. Or, I mean, foil's always an option too, right? And that's lighter than this, and I get more of a wind block, for example, than this can. Even if I did just cut it and did that, but you know, I'll keep that in mind. Oh, okay. Oh, I think you mean as a chimney, right? Jeep things? You're talking about like a chimney. And here I thought you were talking about like a rocket stove. But I mean, similar thing, so you know, adapted that or chimney, whatever works. That's cool. Definitely giving me more ideas to consider, and for anyone else watching, listening, and all that stuff, ideas you can consider on doing with the items that I've just shown. I mean, like, these are just random items that, you know, if I cannot find a use for them, I have to try to recycle them, or hopefully not trash them, but sometimes eventually I have to trash things just because I got too much of it, or it's so small I can't find a use for it, and I can't reuse it, I can't recycle it, I can't recover the resource by composting it or whatever, because it's not a natural material. So unfortunately, Nathaniel's Adventures could be possible for solar ignition. I mean, but the thing is, the amount of time I put into that, I don't know, because I've tried out different things for solar ignition. At times, I mean, I've used the bottom of a pop can, or you can use the bottom of those tall beer cans, because the base is actually wider, so the the bottom is concaved, right? Well, wait, so like that. So that, and it has the perfect shape and surround. And I've done that with sword. Used a can bottom of a can for sword condition. That works. I've never the sheet thing. I don't know. Unless you got a good shape, like a parabolic type of shape, you know, and it's pretty shiny, it may or may not work for solar ignition. I mean, you would just have to try it out in the sun and see if it concentrates enough solar thermal energy to actually do something. You know, if you can, if I took that and if it didn't even work with char cloth, I mean, you know, if it doesn't even work with char cloth or even like a wax fire starter to melt the wax, even, I mean, that's probably not to be good enough. Or you're gonna have to wait like, you know, 45 minutes just to get anywhere with it. Because you have to wait for more solar thermal energy to hit it and to build up. Let's see what you got. Oh, okay, Kaylynn. Or find it out and get a big sit-down mirror, I mean. Maybe. It might work. It might work, it is shiny, I guess. You know, I could try that out. I mean, I guess I could use that never dull stuff if I had it. Might work. I'll consider that. Although, again, I can use a can for that too, and the inside of a can's probably just as shiny as this. I mean, well, this is steel. A can like that's gonna be aluminum, so it's gonna be lighter, but easily can fold or be manipulated, so it probably won't be as durable as compared to if I use this. But this might not be as shiny, so I would have to try it out and see. Let's see. A Froster's beer can. Yeah, like, hold on, let me just go get it here. And not drop everything. Yeah, I'll get back to the side chat in a moment here, but yes, I have these normal size from a bigger can, and yes, I have tried them out in the sun. These can actually work. They're not quite as good as some of the other ones I have, but these can be, anyone can make this. You can see how reflective this one is. I think the first time I actually saw this was like on, what is it called? With Les Strauss on Survivor Man. Yeah, I think he was in the desert and he was trying it out with like chocolate and stuff like that. But that took him 45 minutes. And that actually, if I remember right, it was actually sunny out, so it does work. Yeah, it might take a little bit more time than like using an actual lens or an actual magnifying glass or reflector. But these can be made, always made, as long as the bottom's still good. You know, and I just cut the bottom, flatten out better side, put some tape so I don't cut myself on some random edges. Like this one I probably should do or whatever, but you know, these can work. Aluminum is quite lightweight, so there's not much of a weight penalty with something like this if you did or wanted to create it and carry it. Let's see here. Okay, Independent Adventures, find it out and cut arrows heads out of it. You know what, that's a pretty good idea, because this is a steel container. So it might be, right, steel container, right? Oh, wait, as my YouTube magnet shows, so steel is harder than, you know, aluminum or copper or and stuff like that, so could be possible. Would be better than flint knapping. I'm not sure how long it would hold that shape though. It might not be thick enough to retain the shape over time, especially if I hit a tree or whatever. But you know, could be a good option. Or you know, maybe I can use something that Kaylynn Stain has shown before. If you don't mind me saying Kaylynn, but because I remember how you showed your improvised striker that you sandwiched a whole bunch of hacksaw blades together to make a bigger striker. I could do the exact same thing, but instead of making a striker, I can make an arrowhead and basically make it thicker by using more of the material, by sticking it together, epoxy, super glue, maybe a screw, for example, and go from there. So, good ideas, guys. Keep them coming! You guys are awesome. Yes, arrowheads would be cool, right? G-Things? Let's see. Oh, yeah, frog cake? Yeah. I guess, you know, make a kind of like a fork or a trident. Something similar to that. But, of course, then again, I could just use a real fork. Or a fork that I find, a metal fork, to do that too. And a fork is going to be thicker than this, but it's a good idea. It's a good idea. Okay, yeah, okay. That's great. Folding it over might, yeah, folding it over would add more to the strength or the finished item. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I mean, obviously, after I make it, I can hone that edge, make it a little bit more of a tip, for lack of a better word. You guys are awesome. Jeez, no wonder I've subbed to you guys. You guys have these awesome ideas. I love it. CR's very happy to be in creation mode right now. I'm so excited. Yeah. I'm so excited that I'm gonna continue this live stream for a little bit longer than I thought. So let's keep on going with the next thing. Alright. Let's see here. Alright. I know what I'm gonna do with this. Let's see, hold on a sec. Oh yeah, of course, keep things. I mean, it's a piece of metal. Obviously, any piece of metal could be used to create a tool like a cutting tool, especially if you can edge it right. But of course, this is kind of thin for a cutting tool. And of course, for the amount of time I'm putting into it, I mean, I can just go get razor blades, right? I got plenty of razor blades. So, do I need to do that? Not really. Could I do it? Yeah, I could. You know, maybe I'll do it for the sake of like a challenge or whatever, just to try it out at least once. So if I had to redo it again, I'd be like, oh yeah, I gotta remember XYZ not to do that this time, or whatever. Alright. I'm gonna bring out another item here that I just happen to have for some reason. Not sure what I'm gonna do with this, but this. You guys are so good, so awesome at these ideas. I'll show you. Let me just flip this around so you guys can see everything about it. Who's got some awesome ideas for this? I already have a few ideas for something like this, but let's see what you guys have. Let's see what you guys could do if you had something like this. And why I have this, I'm not sure, but I might be using this anyways for something else. But I want to see what you guys could do with something like this. You know, let's get this discussion going on creation mode. Okay, Reaper Militia sidetracked outdoors and Gearaholic. Yep. He said peace out, stay safe. You too, man. Peace out and stay safe. Enjoy your time at work. And I'll catch you on the next time I see you, or chat with you, or message you, or comment with you, and stuff like that. Are you talking, Nathaniel, your last, your comment, well, before this last one, you meant the can, right? Making it into, um, a flasher. Yeah. This could be used to make a flasher. You know, I just gotta bend it and probably make it an oval, and, well, that's a good idea. It is already shiny, so it's got that going for it already. Now, the only thing I may have issues with is the rust. It's steel. Because usually these flashers aren't, I mean, could work. It would work, I mean. I don't think it wouldn't work, but would it last long enough? Like, after the first couple of tries, especially if I decide to bring it over into the ocean area. Although I don't live close by the ocean, I live closer to freshwater bodies of water, so saltwater corrosion's probably not as big of a deal, but, you know, something I would have to, you know, try it out and see how long it would go for in terms of over time, like, you know, months and years after creating it and using it as a flasher. Anyways, let's get back to this here. Let's see here. Yeah. A snorkel, maybe. But remember, this, I would have to adapt this so it actually aims up, because this mouthpiece would be right here, my mouth would be over it, then what? I mean, I would have to make a right angle so it actually sticks up. But, you know, that is definitely possible. Now, you'll see right here, there's actually openings right here. Now, I can seal that if need be. So, that's a good idea. Nathaniel. And my actual use for this is hopefully gonna be something similar to that. But for another reason. Let's see what Kaylynn says here. That clear thing could be part of a water collection device if you were under a tarp. If the rain and water is pulling on the tarp, rig it to the tarp edge, put a container underneath for a hole. It is possible. I guess it would be possible, but when I do something like that, I tend to use a funnel anyways. I mean, like, I could just use a piece, like, you know, a piece of plastic that's rigid enough or something like that to do it. I mean, but, Kaylynn, I might not be able to collect water or rainwater or use it to aid me collect rainwater, but this could be used as a filtration type of thing, I guess. You know, maybe have activated charcoal inside. I don't know. Maybe I can make something like like something to filter the air or something like that. Could be possible. I mean, like, especially if I could. I have to double check this part of it to see if I can fit it over something else. But, you know, if I could put a bottle, for example, over it, it might work. Not the best, I guess, but, you know, it's possible. Something I could consider. You know, I think again with the fire thing, because the way that this is positioned, I would have to change the angle of the output. Or, maybe I seal this end, seal this end. I still have the openings here. Stick something in there so I can actually stick, like, let's say, you know, a bellows in, you know, maybe it's antenna, or maybe it's an actual pocket bellows or something like that. Stick it in there so I can just breathe into, well, exhale into it, or something like that. Or another idea that I just thought of, instead of sealing this part, maybe I put the bellows on the side, on this end, and use this as kind of like a valve, right? So I can be like, when I exhale, I can do that, but when I inhale, I open this up, air will rush in this way, so I'm not actually breathing in the fumes or the smoke from the fire. So you guys are definitely on the ball with the creation mode today. Awesome. Yep, yeah, exactly. Water filter, maybe an air filter. I mean, I guess it's possible. You know, in in theory, again, I could probably connect this up to some sort of like tube or something like that. So let's say if I'm camping, or maybe it's an emergency situation or whatever, right? And everyone knows about when you're burning something in a confined space, you're gonna get smoke, carbon dioxide, and carbon monoxide. And of course, carbon monoxide is very dangerous. You know, it's the silent killer. I mean, in theory, I could just, for example, wear this. Let's say if I'm burning a, for example, let's say if I'm burning a candle to stay warm in a car, truck, vehicle. For for some reason, I have to do that. I can't go outside the vehicle because it's a blizzard out, it's snowing out. So like the chances of making like fire is probably slimmer. But I have a candle. I might be able to connect this up so the output goes outside, so I'm breathing in constant oxygen, like actual pressure, and I don't have to worry about the carbon monoxide building inside so much. But so I'm breathing in outside air instead of breathing the interior air, which is filling up with like carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and stuff like that. I don't know, maybe, I don't know. Yeah. Yep, of course. I knew someone would eventually bring up something like that. Yes, I guess in theory, Johnny, you could do that too. Not like I'm promoting that, but yes, I guess you could. Although those things are traditionally made from glass, right? Because they have to handle high heat. But plastic's probably not. I mean, plastic has a lower melting point than glass, right? So, yeah, you could, but yeah. Alright, so, you guys are pretty good at ideas. Alright, let's see. Let's see what else you guys can do. Alright. Let's see, what else do I have laying around randomly? Let's see. Where is it here? Ah. Alright, let's see. I already know what I would do with this item, because I already considered it. But, and if you guys don't say anything about what I would do, I'll bring it up. But this is probably gonna be easier to reuse, and well, but no brand names, but everyone knows what this is. Yeah. So let's get the creative process going with something like this. Now, obviously, as you guys are thinking about this, obviously this is a plastic container, so it can be used to store something in and stuff like that, like liquids, water, right? Clearly, people use this as a drinking vessel or energy sports drinks, right? So if anyone doesn't know, that opening, it's got kind of like grips or whatever, so you can put it in your hand quite nicely. Yeah, it's cool, Johnny. I know you were just JKing. It's cool. That's why I kind of wanted to play around with that for a little bit. Oh yeah, there we go. Nathaniel Ventures first straight up. He knows how much I like solar ignition. Yes, yes, this could be used for solar ignition because it's more rounded right here, so it's possible. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what else. Fish trap. Maybe if the fish can get in there, because it's bigger in here. This is bigger than the other container I showed. Now, if the fish can get in there, yes. But the thing is, once you get the fish in there, depending on how big it is, you might have to break it open to get the fish out. So, hopefully, if the fish is so big that it can get in there but it can't get out, you might not be able to pull the fish out, which means you gotta break the container. So that may be only a single use. I mean, you would still have the lid, I guess. That's something to consider. Boil water, boiling water with plastic, yes, it is possible. Yes, I've seen it, but it's probably one of those things, last ditch effort. I mean, like that'd be like I would use stones to hot stone boil water first if I could, before relying boiling water in a plastic container, because plastic has a lower melting point than obviously metals and stones and rocks and stuff like that, and so there might be some outgassing or deterioration of the plastic, because the videos I've seen about it and people have done it, let's just say that it might be clear in the beginning, but you're gonna see black in there. So yeah, you could, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's one of those things, last ditch thing, right? You got no other choice, and you know the water that you have in it is contaminated too heavily that you're not done chance getting sick from parasites or whatever, right? Yes, of course you can burn it. Maybe that'd be a one-time thing though for a signal fire, but I guess it's possible. I guess in theory you can start this with solar ignition and then burn it after. I guess you could. Yeah, I guess we could. Let's see what else. Yeah. I've already talked about the boiling water thing. Okay, Nathaniel will eventually see underwater. Maybe. I think a 2 liter would probably be more beneficial to sing underwater. Like, well, I guess in theory I can make a mask with this if this was a 2 liter. Or, I don't know. And no, Johnny, I'm not trying to make that. It just looks like it. just coincidence. But, you know, I don't know. Let's see here. Huh. Eh, I guess. I guess in theory I probably... Hey! Look at that, Nathaniel. Look at that. If I... Look, I could sort of almost make that snorkel you're talking about. Almost. If only it was a right angle so it actually gets to the surface. And of course, the thing is, this is not that long, so I won't be able to go down underwater too far, but, you know, I guess these two things could work together somewhere. Alright, let's get another item here. Oh, yeah, I guess there's one other thing you could do with this, since you guys have not mentioned it, because I've tried this before, that's why. Specifically, you guys see, well, these bumps, right? Everyone knows that it's used so you can grab the container easier. You know, it's got grip. Kind of like, for lack of a better word, like, cleats, right? Cleats are used for traction and stuff like that. Similar to that, I think I was watching soccer or, you know, some sort of sports soccer commercial or whatever, and I kind of got the idea on my feet, and I'm like, oh, wait a second. If you fill this up with water, it'll become more stiff, right? So you won't be able to compress it because water is not a non-compressible fluid, of course, right? But if you fill this up with water, in theory, you could actually roll this over your feet as a massaging thing. So you can, if your feet are sore, you can roll it. And these bumps right here would kind of massage your feet a little. Now, if this was hot water, it'd be warm too. So massage, warm, hot water. And yes, I've done that before a few times here and there with bottles like these. And I think this is why I keep this one still, just for that reason. So, that's just something I just thought of out of nowhere. Oh yes, of course, you can use it for cordage. Now, it's probably not quite it might be a little bit more difficult. It might not be as, but you know, you can make those cordage cutters with, or use some sort of rig or to set that up to slice it so you get very thin lines of plastic to make cordage. And you just go around and all the way down. I'm not sure how it'll work with this part. I mean, up here it'll be fine. Traditionally, they're used with rounder bottles. And of course, usually they're used with like those 591 mil, 475, 473 mil, 1 liter, 1.5 liter, or 2 liter bottles because they're usually a rounder. So it's a little bit easier, I think. Because you're not gonna get, instead of a straight line of, a flat line of, well, for lack of a better word, tarn, it's gonna be bumpy and uneven. I mean, it could still work, but of course that would mean I would have to destroy the bottle, and of course that does. I mean, anyone got an idea for the lid though? No, I already have one idea already with the lid, of course. Let's see. Yep, of course. Hot water heaters, right? Of course, Kaylynn. I've done that many times. It's something I always keep in mind, especially during the winter time. You know, it's colder out. It's below freezing, you know. And of course, you're not living in Texas or in Florida or in the tropics or in South America or in Africa, or you're not in the desert. So, you know, you gotta keep warm, and, you know, maybe you have a bunch of snow, melt some snow in there, turn it into a hot liquid, use it to keep warm. And depending how much heat you let escape, or how much you insulate it, will determine how long it goes for. And of course, the larger the volume of the water, it tends to hold the heat a little bit longer than something smaller. So a small bottle of water like this size wouldn't hold the heat for that long compared to something like this, or something bigger like a 2 liter, or I mean, at Dollar Tree they got even 2.5 liter bottles. I mean, you know, you got that full of hot liquid. That'll keep you warm in the sleeping bag for a while. Now, the real danger, I wouldn't say danger, but precaution you have to take with hot water heaters, especially if you're making them from a bottle, is you gotta make sure the lid is on great. Because any leaks equal water's gonna escape out, and what happens when water gets cold? It freezes, and you're gonna start getting cold or shivering. But yeah, that's a good idea, Kaylynn. Let's see. Just quickly read what she says. You know, she's put hot water in that bottle, toss it in the sleeping bag, like I said. Just before you get into ready for bed, yeah. And when you sleep, the hot water bottle near your chest or by your feet to keep you warm. You know, buy you more hours of good, you know, a better night's sleep. You're not shivering or and stuff like that. And of course, when you get into the sleeping bag initially, usually it's gonna be cold. Like you gotta pre-warm it up. Of course, you know, a hot water heater, bottle heater could, you know, you just kind of move it every so often in there, let it warm up the space, you know. So basically, you're transferring the heat out the fire to your sleeping system indirectly using water and a bottle. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Winter campium, okay. Yeah, you could do it with stainless steel or a metal bottle, but you can also do it with this too. Okay. Hey, Mayhem. What's up, man? How's it going? Thank you for dropping by. Let's see, those large aluminum alloy energy drink bottles with the screw on top would be an idea. Yeah, I've seen those before too. I usually tend to, I haven't acquired one in a while. I usually just claim the deposit on them, but next time I might see one or whatever. You're talking about the ones that have like the metal screw on top lid. Yeah, I've seen that before. Actually, I should reconsider that again. Thanks for bringing that up. I'll definitely keep my eyes peeled for that resource and, you know, try to reacquire it and, you know, do my own tests and see, you know, if I can use it for whatever. Oh yeah, Jeep things. I keep forgetting you did an outdoor kind of, well, not trip, but camp out. So yeah, I bet that kept your feet warm. Yeah, because usually, for me, my feet give out first. Usually, your hands and feet give out first, because, you know, extremities usually give out first if you're cold. Yo, what's up, Mark? Thanks for dropping by. You know, Mark, always in creation mode, especially random creation mode, as I'm randomly showing items and randomly getting your feedback on what you could create with it, and what I come a couple ideas that some of you guys may not have thought of, or just items that, you know, most of the time people just think as, you know, whatever, right? I'm done with it. Trash, recycle it. Clean the deposit, in this case, like a bottle. Oh, you're excited to see in our live stream, Mark. I'm excited to be in creation mode again. Oh wait, I never stopped, so. Okay, that's really nice of you. There's always cool stuff in them. Well, in these. Yeah, a hot rock under a raised bed, yeah, that'll work. That'll radiate the heat from the bottom. You probably want to insulate that hot rock so the ground doesn't suck the heat away, just like the body, right? Similar thing. I mean, in theory, you probably, if you had foil or something like that, put it on foil, and let the foil kind of reflect heat upwards, I guess, for lack of a better term. Good. Let's see what Kaylynn said. So, okay, sometimes I had one bottle around the core area, chest area, right, where I mean, you're gonna keep that warm because your heart, lungs, kidneys, those are your vital body parts. Those need to be warm. I mean, you can use a finger, but can't lose a heart. You might be able to lose half a lung, I guess, but yeah. uh, yeah. One around your core, keep your core nice and warm, and your feet. Yeah, good. Yeah, mayhem, yep, same rules apply, right? Basically, you're trying to keep that warm too, because it's gonna radiate that heat upwards towards you, hopefully. And hopefully you got, more than one rock, so you can cycle it through, because eventually the rock's gonna cool down, but good. Oh yeah, exactly. A bottle of hot water can be your best friend. I mean, it's one of those things that it's underrated at times. I mean, I tend to use the hot water method of, well, staying warm over using hot hands or hand warmers or body or feet warmers. As I generally prefer reusing something or being able to reuse something over and over again versus something that's more single use or disposable. I mean, don't get me wrong, I got hand warmers somewhere around here, but I tend not to use them. Now, speak of hand warmers, I'll kind of mention something here. I've mentioned it in a different live stream where I was talking about winter and cold, but I guess it'll apply here too. But basically, with those hand warmers, if everyone knows that they have a duration of time, whatever it is, 6, 8, 12 hours, right? Which means that they'll stay warm up to that period of time. Now, sometimes when people use hand warmers, they don't actually use them for the full duration of time. Now, as everyone is aware, those hand warmers react to the oxygen in the air, which develops, for lack of a better word, rust, and that radiates. It's a chemical reaction with the oxygen in the air, and it releases heat. Now, if you remove the oxygen from that reaction would stop. So, if you let's say you use a 12-hour body warmer or a hand warmer, size of your hand, for example, right? Let's say you're using it for a fishing trip, and you only used it for half the time. Now you're back on the road again. You were ice fishing, for example, or maybe used it overnight. You wake up, it's still good, or it's still warm. After, you don't need to use it anymore, or you've already established a campfire or whatever. What you could do, if you seal it away from the oxygen, you can delay the reaction, so you can actually reopen it days and even a week later, because I've actually tried this with a sealed container that's like waterproof type of container that has like hinges, O-ring and stuff like that. I've actually tried that with a hand warmer before, about last year around this time. If anyone hasn't seen my ice fishing 3-day trip, it's not part of the video, but I actually did it during that time. My friends had hand warmers. They used them. There were 6 hours hand warmers. They only used them for like 90 minutes, right? There was still heat radiating out, and basically I put them in a sealed container that I got from like the dollar store, those from Dollar Tree that's green, blue, or red. It's got that O-ring, right? I put one inside, and I put that in on Monday, and on Saturday when I was still there, like 5 days later, I reopened it. It was actual once it reacted with the oxygen again, it actually warmed back up. So, in theory, you could reuse hand warmers. Well, I wouldn't say reuse them, but you can delay the use of the reaction, so you can use it when you need to. But so, just in case anyone didn't know about that, I mentioned it before though. Yeah, exactly, Kaylin. I don't want to waste hand warmers too. That's why I kind of tried it out. I saw it on a different YouTube channel, and unfortunately, I cannot remember the channel name right now, so I'm sorry. But I decided to try it out, and my friends had the hand warmers, and I was like, you know what? Let's try this out. That was a good time, right? Real world, right? Real world. I get it. I'm gonna use it to stay warmer in the real world. So let's try this out. You know, that hand warmer that I used a week later, that that was sealed away from the oxygen. I released it. Oxygen's coming back in. The reaction starting again. I put it on the back of my neck. And that gave me heat for the next 2 hours, give or take. So does it work? Yeah, I think so. And there's kind of makes sense because you're removing the oxygen, reaction stops, and yada yada yada. Let's see. Yeah, keep things outdoors. Hot bottles of water is something no one is talking about. This could be a whole new idea. You know what? I've mentioned it several times now. I mentioned it. I have another video that's called an underrated winter item, water. I kind of mentioned that, and I mentioned it in another live stream that I talked about winter and cold. It's one thing I keep in mind. I mean, I've shown friends that and stuff like that. It helps. Or let's say, uh, outside the survival type of situation or whatever. Basically you're coming home from school. It's colder, or you don't like the cold. You know, you could go into your school cafeteria, get something hot water, and maybe two smaller bottles, hang them around your chest, near your arms, or around your shoulder area or whatever with cordage, and walk, and you gotta walk like 30 minutes home, and it's minus 20 Fahrenheit, minus 30 Celsius, right? That could buy you enough time so you can get home, but you still feel warm. And if need be, if your hands start to get really cold, put them in your jacket, warm them up, because you got that layer of hot warmness by you, right? Warm up your hands or whatever. Yeah, do you think Zelda? I have not tried the hand warmers with Ziploc bags because I don't know. I don't think it's good enough. It might still let too much air in, and like I said, once you let oxygen in, that reaction starts again. Because you're gonna not slow it down, but you gotta stop much of the oxygen from coming in. So I think something with like that's meant to keep something waterproof, even submerged underwater, that might work. I know Ziploc bags are, as far as I know, are probably they're not 100% waterproof because the locking mechanism, water can start to push the zip resealable part open, and you know air or water will rush in, and you start having leaks and stuff like that. Short of taping it, or applying a thin layer of glue or whatever along the top of it, for example. Yeah, totally true, Kaylin. The heat from a hand warmer or body warmer is usually a slightly above body temperature. So I think what 40 degrees Celsius, or what 100 degrees Fahrenheit, give or take. So that might be warm enough to actually, if it would probably be warm enough to soften the plastic if it doesn't already want to start melting it. So I mean, and remember, as soon as you get a small hole in it, air's don't rush in, right? Air's don't rush in. So I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Oh, okay, that's cool. Cheap things outdoors. I learned today how to not have milk freeze while winter stealth camping. Now, I mean, there's. I guess I'll bring back out the bottle again. I know with water, especially if it's below freezing, you store the water upside down. When water freezes, because, well, a little bit of science behind it, but basically when water freezes, it becomes less dense. Yeah, less dense. So basically, it expands, which means it pushes more water out, so it actually floats. Therefore, instead of freezing, water freezes from the top down, and that's why lakes, rivers, and stuff like that, water freezes from the top down. And if we did not have that, well, let's just say the world would be a much different place. Lakes, rivers would freeze from the bottom top up. Thank goodness it doesn't do that, right? So you tip it upside down, or you store your water bottle or whatever upside down. So when it freezes up here at the bottom of the container. So when you tip it back over, you have fresh liquid water at the top to drink out of and do all that stuff. I guess you probably could do that with milk or any other type of liquids too that are prone to freezing. Let's see here. Kaylynn said, I know someone who filled a very thin water bottle with hot water and threw it in sleeping. He rolled during the night and it busted the bottle. Yeah, you. It's one of those things you gotta be careful about, because like I said, if it's far below freezing, -20, -30 when you're doing it, you get like if that was like, let's say a 500 ml bottle, you're gonna have 500 mils of water all over the place, and that water's not, as soon as it reacts, well, not reacts, but interacts with the air, since the air is colder, it's gonna start cooling down, and like it's gonna start, and everyone knows that water, especially cold water, will draw heat away from you fairly quickly. What's the given rate? Like 25 times faster, or whatever the number is, right? Whatever the number is, right? So yeah, you gotta be careful with that. And yes, I have done that once. Now, luckily, I wasn't sleeping, but it was in my pocket, and I didn't seal the lid on it quite well enough. And let's just say, yeah, you gotta be careful about that, because yeah, it can happen. Now, if you wanted to, for an extra, as a contingency plan for that, if you may, or you think that may happen, you could put the bottle around, like, let's say a sock, and put all that into a bigger resealable baggie, and that might help. But I mean, if you roll over it and squish it, I mean, that water pressure is just gonna shoot right out. So, it's one of those things. When you do it, you gotta make sure you're doing it. Make sure the lid's on tight and stuff like that. Maybe in the beginning while it's still hot, release some of that pressure, that steam pressure out. Let's see. Caitlin said, I watched a vid where a guy did that to beer can. You put them in the snow upside down. Yeah. I've seen that before. Especially around here in Canada during the winter time. Sometimes during New Year's time, for example, I mean, people just, instead of filling up their fridge all the way, they just, bring in a cooler with snow, or just stick them in the snow. Or let's say your freezer is not, is full, right, and you want to stick a 2-liter bottle in there, well, stick it outside in the snow. Especially if it's way below freezing. Because since it's colder, it should freeze or get colder faster. Because the temperature difference is a lot more. The more the temperature difference is, the more the heat transfers. That's awesome. Okay, a few more items, I guess. I'll show off here. Let's see here. Okay, I got one for you guys. I'll challenge you guys with at least one more item. Of course, now I can't find that one item. Go figure. But I guess I'll have to find another item here. Alright guys, let's see. Now this item I found also. Now obviously this is not, no one would really consider it as a survival item or anything like that, but I picked it up. But a brush. Yes, I have a few ideas already. Now originally it didn't have a hole at the top, so I drilled a hole so I can actually put, cordage around it to hang it and stuff like that. So let's see what you guys could do in relation and, well, related to survival reasons. That's a wooden handle. Let's see here. Yeah, the metal you see is steel. This is steel. Of course, this is a brush. So now I already have a few ideas in mind. Now, just to get it out of the way, of course, this is wood. Obviously, you can burn it, and one knows wood can be burned. But, let's go away from the obvious. I guess you could signal with it. Though it's not that reflective and it's kind of small. So you're not gonna get the distance or the size, but let's see what you guys got. Oh, you guys are still kind of talking about the last thing. Okay, Jeep Things Outdoor says, if you put containers full of water in a cooler filled with water, the liquid in the cooler will freeze, but not what is in the containers. Oh, you know why? I think it's... Okay, I'll read this again, just in case. If you put the containers full of liquid in a cooler filled with water, the liquid in the cooler will freeze first, right? I think it's because of the heat transfer. I'm pretty sure. It might have to do with similar, well, don't quote me on it. Of course, I'm not absolutely sure, but it might be for the same or similar reason why, you put a cooler can keep, while you're camping, keep ice going for like days. But who knows? That's new to me. Let's see. Now, Kaylynn said, oh, okay, yeah, depends what the bristles are made of. I'm pretty sure these are synthetic here. Let me just take a very small bristle here. Let's see here. Okay, let's just assume they're synthetic bristles. It's not like horsehair or something like that, so it's not natural material. I'm pretty doubtful that it's natural material. It looks synthetic. I'm not sure even a lighter would tell me. I guess if it's melting or dissolving, I guess. I mean, let's see here. As you can see there, it looks pretty synthetic to me. I mean, like, yeah, it looks pretty, yeah, it's synthetic. I just did a burn test with one of the bristles. It seems to have the characteristics of synthetic material, like nylon or something like that. Okay, yeah. You know, that's not a bad idea, actually. You know, it's kind of funny how Kaylynn mentioned how you can mark off the ground, like where you want to have a fire, or take ash mixed with water and brush it on trees or rocks as trail markers. I've actually, at my friend's place, I actually, my friend's mom and his girlfriend were kind of playing with watercolors. I kind of did that, the exact same thing that Kaylynn said, but I made artwork out of it, and I kind of used ash and water to make, well, a very simplistic watercolor. But yes, I haven't done specifically what Kaylynn said, but I've done something similar to it. So yes, it could be possible. But the only downside is that that's not wash out. Now, however, if I engrave it, so to speak, with solar ignition, like I've shown before, it's gonna be more permanent, or at least longer lasting. It'll resist fading away from water, or from snow, or rain, or whatever. Let's see what I get on knife blade. Oh yeah, I guess you know, just cut that off, make a handle for like a ferro rod, I guess. I guess it's possible. Although I probably would make a handle from fat wood instead, but I mean, it's an idea. And of course, I'm just gonna get this out of the way because it's metal. Obviously, we can do, you know, the arrowheads, any of the previous metal ideas could be used. Let's see what else you guys have. I'm not sure if that would work, Kaylynn, or melt the bristles and shape it into a spatula or spoon. Well, you know, there's it probably extends. Geez, it probably extends out maybe to here or whatever. There's also wood. I mean, this metal kind of plate is connecting the bristles with the wood, right, and holding it together so you can't pull the bristles out. So I guess if you remove the bristles, flatten this side out, making it a shape, smooth it out, maybe round it off, right? So there's no hot corners. In theory, I guess you could make this into a spoon or something like that. Probably wouldn't be my first choice, but I guess it's possible. That's not a bad idea. Great, great, great ideas you guys are suggesting. Now, I guess I'll get this out of the way. Now, I've sort of mentioned it before. I've been kind of trying to make fishing flies before. So in theory, I could probably use these bristle ends for, I don't know, parts of a fly, a fishing fly. I mean, could be possible. This side could be, I don't know, whatever. So, although it'd probably be easier if the brush was bigger, just because it'd be longer bristles, so I can get it on there and then trim it to size. So that's good. That's good. Let's see what G Things Outdoor said. I was thinking the bristles to be a blade once you heat them up. Maybe, I'm not sure. Not sure. Yes, a very tiny fishing fly. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, like, look how many bristles there is. I mean, like, that's a lot. Now, I'm gonna take this back a little. Now, everyone knows this is a brush. Well, I guess in theory, I could use it for its more traditional type of uses as a brush. You know, you got a brush, it's good for a keyboard, for example, right? You, especially if you got a keyboard that has crevices and stuff like that, stuff like get in there, right? Wipe that out, get that out. I traditionally use a vacuum cleaner to suck my keyboard, because, I mean, people are always doing stuff with their keyboard, maybe eating, right? Everyone eats, or, you know, they're eating their lunch or whatever, find their keyboard. Food particles get in there, dust gets in there. You can use it to kind of get in there, get more of that stuff out. Try to keep my keyboard clean, for example. Or, for fan molders and stuff like that, maybe I can use this. Let's see, what else could I do? I guess in theory, since this is more synthetic, I'm not sure. I guess I could brush, let's say, I know G-Things Outdoors is into biking, right? Now, in theory, if I coat this with oil, dip this into oil, I can use this as a way, especially if I had two. Now, I've seen this done with toothbrushes, but similar idea, but basically let the chain go through this, and because this is saturated with oil, oil's gonna get onto the chain, lubricate the chain and stuff like that, prevent rusting. Another idea. Now, those two aren't really related to survival purposes, but you know, they can still be useful for, you know, normal day stuff, you know, non SHTF type of situations. Yep, I could totally become a fly. Wait, I can't do a fly, but you know what I mean. Good, good. I probably won't do anything with this yet, but I wanted to see how good you guys were by asking you guys. Wow, this is fun. This is fun. Now let me ask you guys, while you two, Kaylynn and Johnny, if you guys are gonna stay for a little bit longer, I will actually continue this, because I'm already at the 2 hour mark already. Because if you guys are going anytime in the next 15 minutes, I'll probably stop the stream. But if you guys want me to continue, I will continue this random creation mode, or idea kind of mode. That's cool. Jeep things. That's cool. So you kind of made a shank, for lack of a better term. Okay, okay. Caitlin says no. I can hang. Okay, she's game. She's game. How about you, Jeep things? You game? I mean, I know maybe you're busy with Mrs. Jeep things or whatever, or you know, or you gotta work in the morning or whatever. I mean, it's cool. Let's see. Alright, Kaylynn, you can go check that now, I guess. Yeah, Jeep Things Outdoors, yeah. That could totally work. I mean, I'll keep that in mind. Yeah, I kind of was remembering earlier from another video from another subscriber of mine, he found a toothbrush, and I kind of should have mentioned that. He found a toothbrush, obviously it was used, but I mean, like, if you're greasing up a chain, I mean, who cares if it's been used? Because you're putting oil over it anyways. It's not gonna get dirty anyways. It's not gonna get, dirty anyways, right? Sweet, you two are down for it. That's awesome, man. That's totally awesome. Just give me one sec here. Just checking on some messages because I've actually been on so long that I'm getting messages here. That's cool. Now if this person that just left me messages came by, that'd be awesome too. Oh, like, because if he actually came by right now, I can actually tell him. So, let's see. Okay. That's suggesting everyone, play hooky. But yeah, that's cool. That's great that you and Kaylynn Cheap Things Outdoors can stick around for a bit. I'm not sure who else is watching. There's supposed to be at least one or two people watching. They're not saying much. I'm not sure who's watching right now. But, feel free to drop a comment on the side chat right now, right? You know, maybe you guys don't have to, whoever's watching or whatever, maybe you're just watching. Although I don't think so, because I think that other person left too, they said, so, you know, let's get the discussion going, some ideas going, maybe, I mean, as great as I can come up with an idea, you got everyone else can come up with ideas too. Anyone can come up with an idea. Anyone. But to put it into practice, that's a different thing. I mean, we all have these ideas on, oh, I can do this and that. Well, until you try it, practice it, or whatever, you're not sure. Until then, it's just theory. Until you've proven it or done it with experimentation or whatever it is. Well, since we're gonna go longer, I guess I should get a few more things here to use and stuff like that. Well, I mean, Jeep Things Outdoors, obviously, about bandwidth. I mean, as you're watching me, you're using a bandwidth, so your video's not gonna take slightly longer because you're using the bandwidth. I mean, something as simple. I mean, when people say, "Oh, I'm lagging," or on the live streams or whatever, I mean, unless the people or the panel are actually showing something where you really need to see detail, you don't necessarily need to have it in HD. You can go tone it back down to standard definition, open up the bandwidth a little bit more, especially if you're doing something like Jeep Things Outdoors. He's trying to upload a video right now. I mean, that might help to lessen the time by reducing the quality of this stream, right? Nothing wrong with that. As long as you can hear what I'm doing, still see the objects that I show here and there, right? You can always go back to HD and, see the item as I'm showing it or whatever. Alright, let's see here. So I'm showing off random items here. Okay. I have another random item for you guys here. Actually, I guess I should wait for Kaylynn to come back. She's probably not back yet. I guess if anyone wants to take washroom break or a coffee break, now's a good time here, as I'm waiting for Kaylynn to come back. As right now only G-Pink's Outdoors is here and some other random people that I'm not sure who is watching or listening. So if you want to do that, and I will return in about 90 seconds. I'm just gonna go grab some more coffee here and grab some more well, I guess for lack of a better word, props. So I shall return in just about 90 seconds from here. I will keep my static image on and I will mute the stream for audio right now, so you're not gonna hear anything until I return. I shall return in about 90 seconds. Alright guys, CR is back here. Oh, and looks like I got some people dropping in. Let me turn on this webcam back on. And welcome, AOK Forging and Adventures. Hello, welcome to my live stream. Peace and live long and prosper. Let's see what you guys are talking about. The camping video from G-Things Outdoors took 3+ hours to convert. Yeah. Oh, and hi. Let's see. Well, I guess I'm still waiting for Kaylynn to come back here. So in the meantime, right? I guess, well, since AOK Forging Adventures is here, I am, see what they got to show here. So, let's see. Since you haven't been here long, unless you've been listening, I've been showing off random items, and we're randomly seeing what we could reuse that item for. Now, I've shown a brush, a bottle, this thingy, whatever you want to call it. I mean, yeah. I mean, what else have I shown here? Oh. Of course, now I don't see it. Go figure. Well, anyways, I showed off this red container here that similar to a medicine bottle, but basically it used to store multivitamin gummies. I've shown that. So, let's see. That's a shame. You can't stay long. But thank you for dropping by anyways, though. I greatly appreciate it. I'm just remembering that last video I left you a comment on. I could just picture it right now. That mail call. I still actually remember that now. Oh yeah, the hats that said hope on it. Those were cool, by the way. Oh, see. AOK Forging Adventures wants to give some ideas already. Water filter system, yeah. Yep. I mean, I was actually kind of thinking that with like, well, G-Things Outdoors said something else, but I was just showing this. I'm just like, in theory, I could do something with that. I mean, water would go down or whatever. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what I could do with this? Probably a lot of different things. I mean, it fits in here, right? Since this spins, I mean, nah, it's probably too much friction for a bearing block, but it's probably still too much friction. But something I can consider. Oh, look who's back! Kaylynn's back. She's back from getting the laundry out of the dryers, and she's bagged a whole bunch of lint on the traps. Great. How much did you get, Kaylynn, out of that? Let's just say, for example, is it fit it all in an Altoids tin, for example, or a puzzle tin, or is it even bigger than that? I mean, I guess I'll show off some dryer lint since Kaylynn's talking about dryer lint. Geesh. Speak of dryer lint, that's just a sample. And yes, I'm actually gonna make a hot candle out of this, so a fire starter and such. But that'll be for another video. Actually, I put one of these oxygen absorbers in there for the hell of it. And this is just a tin that I picked up at a garage sale, yard sale. As you can see here, it says fire on it. And what's really great about these tins is everyone's familiar with those kind of canister potato chips. Everyone knows what I'm talking about, right? The ones, once you pop, you can't stop. Yeah, that kind of thing. Well, this container right here, this metal container, actually fits those lids. So, yes, it's super. So on the bottom of this, I can actually put matches if I wanted to, or a very small flint for a spark or whatever, right? So, and I got 3 of these containers, and they're all going to be used as a fire starter or as a hot candle in my case. Just something that just kind of worked together. So, yes, exactly. I'm not gonna say it, but yes, you're right. Kaylynn, she knows. Once you pop, you can't stop, right? Oh, G-Things Outdoors gotta take off. Oh, it was nice having you around, man. I know you gotta go. Of course, man. You're always welcome on my live stream. I'll catch you later, Johnny. Hopefully things will go even better for this week for you too. Hopefully it's exciting as your camp out trip. Oh, right. There we go. Ta-da! AOK Forging Adventures, you are now one of my moderators. I tried to make it really dramatic, but obviously it's not working. Maybe I should light up a sparkler for it or something like that. But I'm not gonna waste a sparkler just for that. Although I do have a small short one that I broke off from a different piece. Oh, let's see, what else you guys talking about? We'll be shooting camping vids and yeah. Your guys is with G-Things Outdoors, Kaylynn. Yeah. I've heard about that. You're kind of big May get together, right? I wish Well, let's just say I wish I lived closer and in the States and had a passport and could actually travel down there, and I would. But that travel time is a good 24 hours. If constantly driving or whatever, right? So, yeah. Let's just say I don't quite have the funds to travel to the US right now, unfortunately. But, I'll be there in spirit. CR will be in spirit. You guys will be creating something awesome or whatever, maybe challenges or whatever. Oh, it'd be cool to see similar to the last video I saw from Jeep Things Outdoors about where AOK Forging Adventures was with them. This fire challenge with that rope or whatever. That'd be cool to see. That'd be cool to see. I would definitely want to see that. And for some reason I haven't done that with my friends, so maybe I might try that out too this summer just for the hell of it. You know, as just for fun, right? Especially if we're already making a campfire anyways, because afterwards I could just gather everything up and put it in the fire pit and burn it anyway. So let's see here. I don't even know what that means, but thanks. Oh, no, no, moderator, ranch, spanner. Basically, it allows when you're a moderator on the channel to, well, you can kick people out, block them, put them in time, like that 300-second timeout, and moderators can put links in. So if you want to link in something or whatever, you could do that if you wanted to. Because when you're not a modder, you cannot put in links and stuff like that. Let's see. Oh, Kaylynn, maybe you can find others in your area to meet up. Yep. Well, you know what? I'm trying to. I mean, besides people that I actually know, that I've actually met. I mean, there is at least one channel I know of. There might be two, but I'll have to see. Apparently someone lives like, let's say 5-6 hours away driving, right, on the highway. So not the closest, but could be possible, I guess. Let's see, what else are you guys talking about? Whoa, 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 whoa! That's new to me, AOK Forging and Adventures. See, I mean, unfortunately I don't, unless if I'm live streaming, I don't have the subscription thing up on the screen right now, so I'm not refreshing it. So you must have just did this, because I would have saw it before the live stream when I refreshed the subscription thing. So yes, I will definitely, after this live stream, go check out that video right after. Like literally, it'll be like right after. Oh, yeah, okay, 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 okay. That's cool. That's cool. Sorry about that. Just had to reach down and grab something here. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Um, I know it's not Easter yet, but here's something else here. This is obviously clearly a bunny or a rabbit. And if I could show it here. Well, I guess it would help if I actually shine some light into it, but this actually glows in the dark. Now, let's see. What can you do with this? Now, I probably won't actually do it with this, but this could be like a glow in the dark star or whatever. What can you do with something like this? Now, obviously this is a glow in the dark thing, so you shine light on it for a little bit. It's not, release that light fairly quickly. I mean, in theory, I guess I could, probably add this on to like a fishing hook or whatever. Maybe it's bright, so it might attract some attention for the fish. Probably not gonna be able to signal with this because these things aren't glow in the dark stuff is not as bright as like a glow stick. I mean, you already got the flashlight, so you know that's probably a better way of signaling. However, now I can't get this flashlight back out. However, you could, if I can get the flashlight back out here, okay, use it as an improvised diffuser. So let me just shine some light in here real quick, so you can kind of, so use it as an improvised diffuser, right? These glow in the dark things, right? And obviously afterwards it'll glow over a little bit. And I have a video, if you haven't checked it out, whoever's watching or whatever, I have a video about improvised diffusers. I have 2 videos on it. There's a playlist with that kind of thing with signaling and stuff like that, and you can see things that could be used as improvised diffusers. So let's see what you guys say here. Yes, it can glow. Oh, that's why. Oh, that's why. AOK Forging Adventures, you uploaded it on Saturday. Yeah, I was actually gone for most of the day yesterday. Actually, I was gone for pretty much all the day yesterday. And that's why there's a video up about me doing, well, an 8K 5-mile walk. Well, snow walk, more like it. And afterwards I went back out again. So, and I didn't come home till like, you know, closer to midnight. So I guess I must have missed it in the feed in there. So now I'm really glad that you came by, or else I probably wouldn't have known about that for a little bit of time. So, like I said, I'll drop into that video afterwards here. Let's see. Oh yeah, okay, tie it to the zipper of your tent so you're not falling around for the zipper. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, like, I guess so. You know, let's say if I turn on the light, it might, well, it's not shine, right? It's not stick out. I mean, I know even the better kind of glow in the dark stuff doesn't last that long, but I guess in theory, you know, this zipper thing, if I used it on the zipper, I can shine some light on it for a little bit of time, go use the restroom in the bush, right, to come back and still kind of make out where the zipper is, I guess, or the tent is, or the shelter is, or whatever. I mean, of course, that could be extended to anything similar to that. Let's see. Tie it to the top of your fishing rod for night fishing. Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, on the fishing line, along the line of it. So, if it starts moving, hopefully it's not too windy, I might notice that I'm having a bite. Okay. I guess in theory you probably could use that during the day too. It just won't stand out as much. And you gotta watch out for something like wind. It might be windy out. I mean, a lot of these lakes or rivers are more open, so wind has an easier ability to get in there. Because there's not as much wind block from trees, hills, and stuff like that. Let's see, what else? Okay, that's cool. Oh, so you were done hunting and yesterday and today AOK Forging Adventures. Okay. Did you catch anything, by the way? While I bring out the next item here. Oh, you guys are so awesome at this. Dang. No wonder I sub to you guys, and vice versa. You guys definitely know how to kind of try to think outside the box. This is what I like, right? I love this. I'm so excited that I want to do more of this right now. Alright, I'll bring out something else here. Let's see. why not? Why not? I'll bring out another container. Now, I have actually used this container before. You may see them for gum or whatever, but this container right here. And it's actually orange. Yeah. Orange. Now, open it up so you guys can kind of see. So it's thinner than a punk, but not as heavy, and it's not black. I mean, clearly this is not waterproof. It's got 2 openings in it, and currently right now I use it as a container to store memory cards. So I got a bunch of memory cards, and it's easier just to store them like this for me, because this stands out, so it's hard for me to misplace this. And, you know, you could put a label on the top or whatever at the bottom. Oh, yeah, you could tell. So, any ideas about that? Now, you probably could use similar ideas from the last glow-in-the-dark item. Similar ideas, I mean, obviously I can use this as a diffuser for signaling purposes. You know, I probably could put a fishing kit inside, something like that. That wouldn't be so bad of a thing. Let's see, what you guys got here? Oh, okay. Alright, okay, A-OK Forging Adventures. You gotta hit the hey. That's cool, that's cool. I don't mind that. Alright, I'll catch you later. Thanks for dropping by. Alright. Oh, well, Kaylynn still in here. That's awesome. You know what, Kaylynn? I'm done do special, for lack of a better word, shout out or a channel spotlight on Kaylynn Stain, who's in the chat right now. So I'm gonna link in her channel as part of the video description and screen or card after this has been processed. So go check out Kaylynn Stain's channel. I've seen many, especially from this live stream, I've seen many different ideas for her, and you can check out some other ideas that she has too. Awesome. So let's see. Now Kaylynn said, I have a round container like that in my purse. I keep some dry grass in it just in case I gotta make a fire on the go. Yep. Right? Definitely put fire starter in here, right? I mean, in theory, hey, you know, in theory you could probably, if you had another one, Kaylynn, put the dryer lint in here. Now, the only downside is they're not waterproof at all, I guess. I guess they're water resistant or maybe rain or splash proof at the most, right? Or shower proof at the most. Like, I wouldn't heavily rely on it, like on the ocean or on the river, but, you know, you could put this in a baggie or whatever to keep it drier, stuff like that. I mean, again, if you had a light in, if you could squeeze a light in here, get a light in here, whatever kind of light, you probably could use it as a diffuser for some reason, maybe, you know, anchor it down with something to weigh it down so it holds it still in the water, have a light source at the top, well, inside, right? That might work. Moving light for signaling purposes, if it's makes sounds, it's bright in contrast compared to the background, and it's moving. Usually something like that will attract attention quite well because it's moving and making sounds and it doesn't look natural. Let's see what Kaylynn's saying here. No, it's not. But I recently upgraded my purse to the water resistant bag. Oh yeah. I keep forgetting you changed that bag out. Well, I guess, you know, if it works for you, you know. I guess in theory you probably could add, like, I don't know, tape on the bottom or something like that. Let's see. Oh, okay. So you got a keychain, like, I mean, yeah, I got something like that I could do if I need to. If I needed to, but I don't need to because I have other things that work slightly better or more multifunctional than this is. And besides, I'm actually technically using this, so I'm not gonna destroy something I'm actually using just for the sake of experimentation. That's why I like to have two of something. That way I can experiment, yet still have the original. Just in case things go sour, I still have an original, so I'm not out of luck by destroying the only one thing I have, right? What they say, one is none, two is one, three is two, and four is more, or something like that. So, let's see. Just like when you tie a string on a glue stick. Yeah, exactly, right? Kaylynn just said, just like when you tie a string on a glue stick and spin it around, that would not look natural. It's it's a it's a light halo. Well, it's known as a light halo, or I think the military calls it a buzzsaw signal. Now, usually it's done with glow sticks. However, I've shown it, which is also in the signaling playlist of ways to signaling. I've shown with other things that can work. And for anyone that's kind of more outdoorsy, like bushcrafting, right? You could make something with just natural materials and a fire. But of course, there's other things you can use. But go check out that playlist so you can actually understand it and see it in action too. That's great. Let's see. Let's only check some messages here. Okay. Just making sure no one messaged me. Ooh. Speak of messages, I almost forgot. I keep forgetting someone was trying to message me earlier. I gotta check. Oh, nope. Alright. No messages. Alright. So, okay, well, I got that out of the way here. Well, let's see. Kaylynn's on a streak. She just knows. Just knows. Alright. Well, I'm not gonna show this off because I know Kaylynn will know what I'm gonna show here, but she's shown it off on one of her last videos, but I'm not actually, it's not gonna actually be what you can create with this, but I'm just gonna show this off. Yeah. So, Kaylynn, let's see how good you really are. Now, besides the obvious things that you could be doing, such as using it to make like a snare of some sort, if you could stretch it out and do all that stuff. I know you mentioned that. What else could you do with this? And everyone knows what this is. I already know a few ideas already. So let's see what Kaylynn or anyone else has to think about, well, to add to that. Because I already have a couple ideas for something like this already. Now, one thing you could do with this is kind of in the same way, well, on the same level where I've been talking about, well, me and Kaylynn have been talking about signaling. In theory, you could stick something inside and spin it. Jeez, make sure I don't get anything here. Right? And spin it. And hit stuff. Alright, but you get the idea. Alright? Alright? You get the idea. Alright, stick something in there, whatever it is. Glow stick, flashlight, whatever it is, right? Spin it, make a signal halo, buzzsaw signal. Yeah, I guess you could do that. I mean, I could stick something in there, like a glowing piece of punk wood, and do the exact same thing too, which I've also shown before. Now that's a good way of signaling when you don't have a flashlight or a glow stick with you, but you have access to punk wood and a fire, and hopefully a way to start the fire, like, you know, a flame spark or heat method. That's... Oh, Nathaniel's back! Look who's back, he's back. I didn't even realize he left. But welcome back anyways. Cordage? Yeah, metal cordage, yeah. In theory you could. I never tried it, so I'm not sure how well that would work over time. Right? Because it's kind of thin. Right? I mean... Now, here's another thing you could do with this, is... Because everyone knows that these things are meant to put... They roll down the stairs, or, you know, they fall down the stairs, right? Just gonna turn on my mic volume down a little here. I don't have to scream so much. But everyone knows that these will go down the stairs. They transfer the energy from the top, and it'll just keep on going until it reaches to the bottom, and, you know, slinky down, right? Now, because it can do something like this, in theory, if you had, like, let's say, glow-in-the-dark stuff, a light source, maybe a reflector, you might be able to use it as a passive way for signaling where, you know, it's not active like a fire, or you're actively spinning something with your arm with cordage or rope or a bag to make a signaling halo or a buzzsaw signal, where this could be more passive and just kind of go like this. And see how I'm not even moving it up and down, right? Maybe I'll put a weight at the bottom, for example. Let's say, okay, I'll take one of these binder clips that I just happen to have right beside me. Alright? As you can see here, oops. As you can see here, it's moving on its own. I'm not even pushing or moving my arm or hand right now. And that's actually moving on its own. So if there was something bright, light source, reflector, or whatever on it, since it's in movement or whatever, you might be able to notice that. Of course, I can stretch it all the way and just be like, you know, if I had to leave, like, let's say, depending on the situation, maybe I had to leave that campsite because, you know, I gotta go get water, or I'm checking a trap, and I still want to be able to signal, or, you know, maybe use it as a marker or whatever. You know, it might work for that. You know, not the best idea, but, you know, something to could consider. Let's see here. Kaylynn said you could use it as cordage to lash shelter components together, or a cooking tripod, or use it as a fishing leader, or as a makeshift fishing stringer. Maybe. Like I said, I've never tried this before. Well, I'm not gonna destroy this one because it actually still works, but, and it was gifted to me. But of course, this is just more of a get the ideas flowing and stuff like that, right? But I jeez, I'm just coming up considering a lot of ideas as I play around with this right now. Maybe with shelter. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this would actually hold it, especially if the weight increases. Especially if you're using logs and not just, you know, thinner sticks that are less than an inch or 2 inches or 3 inches wide. I'm talking about like branches that are like 4, 5, 6 inches wide. Not sure that would hold up the weight over time. As a fishing leader, I mean, like, maybe, I mean, I know at the top here, right here, it's crimped to keep it together, so, I mean, in theory, I guess, maybe. I mean, on a non-survival related top idea, I guess, you know, stick this into, you know, a pail or a bucket of soapy water, maybe make some bubbles with it, I don't know. Who knows, maybe this actually does work to make bubbles, I don't know. I've never tried it, but just something I was just randomly thinking about. I have no idea. because I've never tried it. Some of these ideas I get, yeah, they're random. Sometimes they're way outside the normal box of thinking, but, it's good to think outside the box at times, because sometimes you don't have the right stuff with you, but you have something similar or that could be used. It might not be ideal. It might not have the duration, or might not last as long, but it might get you out of that jam temporary while, until you can get back home or whatever, right? A fishing net, hey? If you had more of these on the manual, you probably could do that, but right now I only have one. I mean, like, I guess in theory I could probably loop it and make a donut. Maybe, let's say, stick this over, like, I don't know, like a can or something that's burning, like some sort of fire starter that I could use as a stove or whatever. So something similar to this. Maybe, but the thing is, this also doesn't stay on quite nicely. So, yeah, this is a little bit trickier to use in comparison to the other items I've shown. It's not as intuitive as I think for creating something, but, I guess it's got its own characteristics, right? Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I guess, in theory, if you have the plastic ones, I guess, in theory, you could burn it if need be. I mean, everyone knows you can pretty much burn anything, right? Anything can burn, but besides that, right? Because once you start burning something, you consume it. You're not gonna come back to it. It's a chemical reaction. Chemical reactions are hard to reverse if you can do it at all. I mean, like, my friend told me this one time about they undid fried egg by grinding it up and drying it out and putting it back in the shell. But I mean, like a piece of paper, once it turns to ash, you're probably not gonna get it back to the paper again or something like that. Hey, it's H-Top Music. Hey man, what's up? Thanks for dropping by my live stream, which is a random creation mode. Basically, randomly I'm showing off different things, and we're trying to figure out what we can use them for, reuse them for, and hopefully for survival related reasons, or to help kind of DIY yourself out of a jam or a problem. Something that's more like maybe an issue every so often, or something you gotta contend with every so often, day to day life, right? Let's see here. Well, yeah, I guess so, right? I guess, if I was, this could keep me busy, right? This could be something that could be like, woo, I can play around with it, keep my mind occupied, yeah, yeah, yeah. Probably not quite as fun as what's it called, playing cards. Now, I was kind of thinking with this, it'd be hilarious if this could actually go all the way down like a hill. I'm not sure if it would actually do that, but because everyone knows that these will automatically keep going if they can. So if you could actually set that up so it automatically goes down the hill, I don't know, you could potentially get something on it and to make it glow and go from there. I don't know. Have I tried it? No. Do I know it works? No. Is it a good idea? Who knows? Maybe. Let's see here. Da 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 da. Oh, okay. Yes. Oh, by the way, H-Top Music, I'm doing well too. As I kind of figured you would probably eventually ask me to. Yes, I'm doing good too. Always in creation mode. And how are you? Just give me 1 sec here, just checking up some random messages I'm getting here. Okay, I guess I'll have to check that message later. Alright. Let's see here. So, let's bring out another item, right? Let's bring out another item here. Alright. Let's see. Now, I'm not done actually break this item for it, but I want to see. I'm gonna bring out a technology or an electronic item. Now, obviously, if this gadget works, I'm not gonna reuse it. But let's say it's cracked. So yes, I'm gonna bring out a smartphone. Now let's just say you've cracked the display on this, right? Survival, maybe it's a survival situation. You crack the display on it, right? Now once you crack the display on these smartphones, sometimes you can't use the display or you can't see what's on the display, which means even if the battery was working, you might not be able to dial out, right? Just because the input that you're putting into the smartphone isn't related to what is shown on the screen. And sometimes I've seen where these displays, you can't even see like half the display because it's been ruined. The display won't show it right, which means that you can't see the numbers either to check, to call out for help. You can't check PDF documents, any saved survival manuals or instructions or anything like that, like the SA survival guide or something like that. You might not have access to it, right? So, which means you gotta think outside the box again. Now, what can you do with a smartphone? No brand names specifically, but what could you do with something like that if the display was cracked and you could not use the display anymore, which means you can't dial out, you can't read any documents on it, so you can't pick up info like any manuals that you might have, PDFs or something like that, and like I said, you can't dial out, so you can't call for help. Let's see what you guys have for that. I already know a few things, so let's see what you guys got for it. Alright, let's see here. Oh, alright. Yeah, Kaylynn from the previous thing, yeah. I might actually try that out randomly, just for the hell of it. Who knows? Who knows? Alright, that could actually work, but it might be more situational, but, you know, of course, last resort, right? It's just a thinking or a mental exercise, right? And this is basically a mental exercise, right? There's probably better things to use these items for, but, you know, you might need to rely on these items for different reasons. Unconventional, outside the box kind of reasons. Let's see what you guys have here. Of course, Nathaniel is gonna bring up the battery for fire. Yep. In theory, yes, you can do this. Right? Now, one of the methods is, like, for example, steel wool, yeah. Touch the terminals, I mean, like, usually these smartphones, just like your older flip phones, use a 3.7 volt battery, so, you know, it's gonna be stronger than a AA or AAA, but not as strong as a 9 volt. And the connector points are pretty close together. Alright? Now, some of these smartphones allow you to replace the battery, so, but other ones, like, yeah, are shut, so you would have to smash it open. But, I mean, if you didn't have a fire starter or a way to start a fire, this could be an option for you. Now, these use lithium-ion batteries or lithium polymer type of batteries for the perceivable future, so, of course, that could be used if need be. Let's see here. If the back of the phone is metal, you can use it for anything you can use a fine piece of metal for. Yeah, I guess depending on the phone, right? Some, depending, you know, if, you know, yeah, okay, that could be useful, I guess. Now, indirectly, I'm just gonna say, I've seen this once on some show on Discovery Channel. But basically, he uses well, basically, it's a show about using electronics to get yourself out of survival situations. Now, I'm not heavily saying, just bring out electronics and you're gonna be able to survive, right? No, I'm not quite like that. I embrace it all. But he showed something with a smartphone and with a bow and arrow, because he was in a valley area surrounded by mountains and hills, right? Doesn't know where he is, right? He's trying to pick a good spot to kind of move or navigate to. So instead of making the trip, right, and wasting energy and might be circling back or whatever, just to get a vantage point. And of course, he doesn't have binoculars to see far in the distance. What he did was the person that's kind of, well, not with him, but kind of, well, this other person gave him a bow and arrow set to use. What he did was he shot the phone up in the air and made kind of a cone type of thing at the end. So once it reaches its highest point and falls back down, there's a parachute, and he set it up so the phone would actually take video, and basically he would just shoot it up as high as you can, right? Maybe it's going up 50 feet or whatever, to get a better vantage point without actually moving. So he's using minimal effort. But that assumes that your phone can work and the camera can actually do its thing, right? And of course, you got to be able to see the display too, because you can't access any of that stuff if you cannot access the display. So, in theory, yes, that could work, but, hopefully it wouldn't come down to it. And of course, you're gonna need some sort of way to slingshot it, shoot it in the air. I mean, like, this guy had a bow. I highly doubt a normal slingshot would be able to shoot it, with normal bands be able to shoot it that high, right? Because the force from a bow is probably larger than that kind of I don't know what I'm gonna say, potential energy is probably greater in a bow than in a slingshot, so you might not be able to get that high. Whew. Anyways, well, kind of behind here. Okay, let's see what you guys are talking about here. The Fabulous Adventures. I have a video on me using one to get a fire going. Okay, that's cool. Let's see. Kaylynn said if you could extract the wiring, you could use it to repair a fabric or tying a weight on a float to as a fishing lure. Okay. Or as a line guide on a bushcraft fishing pole. In theory, I mean, you're not gonna get a lot of wiring from a phone because remember how small it is. You might be able to daisy chain it together, but you're not gonna get a long length of it. So you could, but I just don't think you're not getting a lot of length. For smaller things, you might be able to get away with that. Might be, but let's see what else here. And good night to you too, Hip H-Top Music. Alright, let's see. Oh yeah, well, Kaylynn, like I said, the way he made it so there was a kind of like a cone shape. So basically, it would reach up to the air. Once it starts falling back down, the parachute that he kind of made kind of would open up automatically, so he can reuse it, so it doesn't plummet back down to earth and smash and shatter or whatever, right? Or crack the screen even more or whatever. I am not sure what that is, Kaylynn. Can you elaborate a little bit more? I'm not familiar with that. I mean, short of, well, I guess I can search for that. Oh, okay. Oh, a trebuchet. Yes. I guess I've never actually seen the spelling of it. Yes, I know what it is now. It's like a catapult type of thing for. It's like for siege engines. Basically, these things were used back in, around medieval or pre-medieval times. Basically, it was to break down castle walls, and breach the walls, and and stuff like that. Because trebuchets and can pretty much launch something a mile, like what, up to a mile away that weighs like several hundred pounds, be able to punch a hole through defenses and stuff like that. Okay. I always thought that word was spelled differently, but I guess now I know how to spell it. Alright, Nathaniel Adventures. Also, you can put Google Talk or whatever it's called on your phone, and when it rings, you can say answer. Laugh out loud. Oh, the voice recognition. I guess in theory, I guess that could work, providing you set it up and all that stuff. Hmm. That would be such a bad idea. I mean, people crack their screens a lot, right? I guess if you got that hotkey enabled for voice recognition, I guess, be like, hey, who do you like to call? Nathaniel, connecting, right? Even though if I don't have access to the display. I mean, I used to remember flip phones having a hotkey, right, where you can voice dial. So that might be a good thing to keep in mind. I mean, if it can work for your phone or device. Let's see here. Yeah. Kaylynn, a few hundred years ago. Uh, or light flammable substance in a bowl, then launch it at night to signal. Okay, yeah, of course. Alright, so let's see. Any more ideas with the smartphone? Now remember, there's a battery inside. There's pieces of metal inside. Now, you guys probably haven't. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys. Well, maybe Nathaniel's done it. I don't know where Nathaniel got that battery from. If he actually had to destroy a phone. Hopefully one that didn't work or whatever, or one he found, right? Now, I'm not gonna destroy this phone on screen because it's not. It's locked, but it's not. It's not unlocked, but it's not. Well, the display's still working, so I'm not gonna actually destroy this. But I've played around with other ones that I've seen around that are gone ran over and stuff like that. So I've seen the inside of these phones indirectly, and I have actually done it with another device before. That's because the battery stopped working, the internal battery, and that's how I know that some of these components are in this. Now, one thing is, there may be pieces of metal or something similar to glass in these, right? Because everyone knows that these crack, right? So, in theory, you could probably use those pieces of metal or glass-like thing that you could probably, make a cutting tool, fashion something like an arrow or spear point, something similar to that. Maybe it's fire, right? Maybe it is a fire-related thing, and you got a way to ferrite or whatever, and you're trying to find something to strike it with. It's in the middle of the winter, so you're not gonna have access to flint. You're not, because all the rocks are frozen to the ground. You're not gonna be able to pry them out. Snow's covered. No access to flints. It's not the summer. It's not spring or fall, right? So no access to it. You're in the middle of the field in the tree line area, so you're far away from like the water source. No access to the rocks, so no access to flint. You're not by a volcano, so don't have access to like something like obsidian, and you're not finding like a glass bottle or anything like that. But somehow your phone's cracked, and you need to start a fire, but you have a ferrite, and for some reason you have no knife with you. So yeah, a lot of ifs, but in theory it could work. Now another thing you could do with these, so I've seen is there's on the display there's a reflector part right sandwiched in between, and in theory if that was still together you could use it for signaling purposes. And yes, I've actually seen that in touchscreen type of devices like these, like a smartphone. It's part of the display. I'm pretty sure even newer type of smartphones still have that. I'm not 100% sure because the last one I did was quite old, so I'm not 100% sure, but don't quote me on it. But if you were breaking it apart anyways, you'll notice these things. You'll notice, be like, oh, hey, I can use this as a cutting thing. Oh, there's a piece of metal that I can sharpen up to make a bow, to make a arrowhead or a spear pointer or whatever. And you'll see this reflective thing. You'll be like, oh, hey, look, it's shiny. I can signal with it. It's still sunny out. Or something like that. Let's see here. What else could be used in this? Now, I've never tried this yet. Now, everyone knows that speakers generally, well, for the most part, have a magnet. Now, the magnet kind of vibrates another piece of thin material, and that's where you get the sound from. It vibrates there, and you hear it in your eardrum. Now, in theory, if you actually had a thinner piece of metal, maybe similar to like a needle, you might be able to magnetize it to get navigation if you didn't know where you were already, or let's say you're getting mixed kind of signals about with using stars and the trees and stuff like that. You're like, oh, I thought this was north. Not much is growing on this side, and you kind of, you make this improvised compass, and you're like, oh, that doesn't seem right? So, all right. Whew. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. If you had the right size of piece of metal with it, you could shape it into a fishing hook, yeah, or a dart. Yeah, in theory, you could do that. I've seen that before. Haven't done that yet, but there probably is pieces of metal that you could do that with. Now, I'm not sure the hardness of it, so I'm not sure if they'll actually handle the tensile strength of a fish pulling on it, right? And of course, that doesn't include any of the fishing line, right? If you didn't have that. And of course, let's say it's wintertime, so it may be harder to use natural cordage to make a line of some sort. Because as far as I know, you need like roots and stuff like that, and it's kind of hard in the winter because it's a little bit more stiff to play around with. But I haven't played around with natural cordage too much. I've seen people have shown me in the real world, like in front of me, but this is summertime. This is not during the wintertime, right? I just assume that wintertime would be much harder to make natural cordage, just because everything's frozen, right? The trees, the outside of the tree might be frozen. I mean, like that's kind of hard to manipulate and try to weave and do all that stuff with. And hello to Texas Little Star Monster. Hello, Texas Little Star. How's it going? Welcome to my live stream, and thank you for dropping by. Glad to see you. How's it going? And everyone saying hi. How are you? That's cool. Hi. Texas Little Star Monster. Cool. How have you been? I'm doing good. CR's in creation mode again, like always. And basically, in the last little bit, I don't know how long you've been here, but we've been going through different items, just randomly, and seeing what we could do with these items to help aid us in survival related reasons. An item that you may have with you. Now, I've kind of stretched it to like not only survival related things, but like if you wanted to help your for maybe make yourself more comfortable, maybe solve a day-to-day issue, or like similar to like using a paper clip, for example, right? For indirect reasons, or using like foil, for example, like the DIY, I wouldn't say DIY, but the short lack of a better term, the life hacks, right? Foil with with a triple A battery to put into a double A device, remote or whatever, right? So similar to something like that. Now, anyone have more ideas about the smartphone? Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone else? Well, Texas Little Star 63 Monster Monster. I'll watch. I'll watch the glass use the sun to start fire. I'll watch. I watch the glass. I'm not sure. You know what? I've seen this. I've actually removed. There's a thin plastic on it, and you would think it doesn't. I tried this out. It does not actually magnify the light in the proper way. It doesn't bend the light to a focal point. It actually sometimes it actually diverts it. No. Since we're on the subject, now this piece is not from a smartphone. Because it's right here, right? And as you can see here, look, right? Look how that bends the light. You can see right at the bottom here, right? Like I'll stick my one finger in front of it, where that right? Look at that. You don't think my finger is there? Like, look, you can actually see my finger there. So I don't think this doesn't actually. This is similar to what it is, and as far as I know, it doesn't bend the light properly for it. Now, of course, it could still, like, I can roll it up like this and still use it as a diffuser if I had a light source, a flashlight with me. I mean, you know, some of the stuff I haven't tried, but, you know, let's just say I've tried that Texas Little Star and I don't think it works. As far as I know, it does not work for that reason, just because it wasn't meant to bend the light in that way or as a focal point. Right? Now, in theory, you probably could, if there was a reflective type of material inside, to fold it, to round it into a cone and try to use it as solar ignition. I see that as being possible. Or using the battery to kind of start a fire with like steel wool, or using the lithium ion battery to start a fire, which I've never done. Besides steel wool, using it with steel wool, I've never actually broken a lithium ion battery to start a fire. Because it's a little bit dangerous, so I haven't attempted that yet, so that's why I haven't done it. Because I need safety gear, I want to do that. At least see it with my own eyes, right? I mean, it's one thing to see something on TV or on a show, right? But it's totally different when you do it in the real world on your own, right? Because if you're not sure, things might be a little bit different in comparison to what you see it on TV or on a show. Whew. Yes. Yes, Kaylynn, it's not a magnification lens. Trust me. However, it still can be used as a diffuser. Just because it doesn't bend the light into a focal point, it might bend the light this way, right? Well, if you have a light source in front of it, it will actually, and it's in round shape, like a cylinder shape, it might actually bend the light around, so you might be able to see it in 360 degree. That sheet I just showed, it was combined with something else to give me that kind of 360 diffuser. And yes, it is red, and this is why the medicine multivitamin gummy bottle I don't do it with that one, because I have another bottle that works better at it. Like, it looks more red when I put in a white source. It looks less white and looks more red because the container's red. But it's not the medicine bottle that I just showed, because that one's too, I wouldn't say too thin, but it lets too much it's not as red as it could be. Okay, let's see. Yeah. I've actually attempted that once with lenses from like glasses, not mine, with my prescription. Although it's bad, it's not that bad. I've seen it with I think I tried it with my friend's glasses before, but it doesn't work. It could work. I mean, like, yeah, did it focus in light to a warmer spot or a hotter spot? Yeah, but it wasn't as hot as using like an actual glass lens or an actual magnification reflector or plastic lens. It's not quite as good as that, so you might have to wait a little bit longer. So instead of, where these lenses, curved lenses, bright sun, it's sunny out, within seconds it's already burning, you might have to wait with this kind of stuff with like 5-10 minutes. But if it's survival reasons or whatever, you got that time, right? Just set it up, autopilot, and get Tinder ready, build your shelter, and hope for the best, right? Assuming you don't have any other means of fire lighting. And of course, if you're doing it at a barbecue or whatever, maybe not, right? That might take a little bit too long for people, especially if they're waiting for food and they're like, "Where's my barbecue? Can we just start this campfire already? I don't want to wait for this glasses to start with solar." Right? You know how people are. Alright, let's see. Well, like I said, you can make a reflector with the shiny part of it, if there's a shiny part piece in there. And as far as I know, most smartphones do have that. As far as I know, right? But the thing is, it's also small too, so the light gathering area isn't as big. So, and remember, were never, you're kind of more improvising it, so the results may be not the same or as ideal as an actual lens, reflector, or glass that can magnify. So it's not gonna be, it probably won't be as fast as like the soda can bottoms that I just showed a little bit earlier, or some of the other things that I've shown for solar ignition, because those things work really well. That's why I wanted to show them off. But some of this other stuff, it's kind of hit or miss. I mean, like you might have to wait there for hold it in the sun for a minute just to get it to burn, because the light gathering isn't enough, or the focal point isn't strong enough. Like, you're not focusing enough of the light towards it, or whatever. Or it's not bending into a point, maybe it's bending into, like, more of a circle. So you're getting a hot spot instead of a hot point, for example. So, but yes, actually, I wish, now, obviously, this is not part of the phone, right? Like I said, I'm not breaking the phone, but, like I said, I've shown these off several times, right? So basically, it would be similar to something like this, Kaylynn, right? Something similar to this. And yes, it is possible to do solar ignition with this, but it's harder than it looks, because you gotta get your thing down into the center. And now remember, with a phone, this is gonna be smaller too, right? So unless it's bright and sunny out, probably midday, not, hours after sunrise and hours before sunset, it might work, but it might take a while. I mean, even, I think I've done this once with this one, and even this took a little bit of time. And of course, having something black for solar ignition allows you to absorb that, well, allows it to absorb that solar thermal energy quicker, so you get that burning right away, I guess. Especially useful if, your rig for solar ignition isn't the best, or it's not as bright out, thin clouds and stuff like that. Alright. Alright, so Texas Little Star will be back here. So, let's see. Anything else with a smartphone? I mean, let's see. I mean, I guess the pieces of plastic can be burned, obviously, right? Anything can be burned, right? once you get that fire started, and I guess because it's plastic, you might be able to release dark smoke, get some contrast, especially if it's you know, like snowing out, maybe it's sunny out or whatever. Get some contrast, so for signaling purposes only, right? I would only do that as a last resort, especially if nothing else is available, like, you know, Fowlet or whatever. Now, I guess in theory you could, if the display wasn't too bad, let's say your battery's dead, and you know the situation calls that, you know, I gotta cannibalize the phone just because unfortunately it's not gonna help me in this current state, and I'm in trouble for whatever reason. You know, I dropped the compass, I've lost my bearings, or I've gone hurt, right? And I can't walk myself out yet, right? You know, maybe you're hopping or twist an ankle, sprain an ankle, right? It's hurting. You know, you're trying to tough it through, but you're like, oh, you know, maybe I should start signaling, unfortunately, right? I guess if the display wasn't too bad, I guess you can reflect light with it. I think I've seen another channel before show that. It's probably does work. It's probably not as good as like an actual highly reflective mirror, silver mirror kind of finish, right? Silver tends to reflect light better than most other things, in comparison to like something more red, golden in color and stuff like that. I mean, like, before mirrors were developed and stuff like that, they used to use like copper and bronze mirrors that were polished. I mean, those actually don't reflect as nearly as much light as something silver. And this is why all mirrors now are silver in the back, because it actually reflects all that, most of the light, back to wherever, or focus it, or whatever. Whew. Alright, let's go grab another item here. I guess we're done with the smartphone here. Oh, speak of smartphone, I gotta make sure I put this back here. Alright, let's see here. What else? What else, right? Okay. Alright. Now this one item's probably too easy. I won't show that off yet. And then besides, I want to show off a video on it soon anyways. So let's see here. What else? Alright, I got another item here that'll show off. Now, I've actually seen one person show this off. I'm subscribed to their channel. I've seen this before. You know, everyone knows what it is. Everyone knows what they use it for. But let's see what you guys could use this for. Here, I know what I use it for, because I already use it. But so I'm gonna bring out tongs. Now, similar tongs. There's probably similar tongs and stuff like that. But for the sake of this, I'm gonna show these ones. Now, these ones I actually picked up. I think I either picked them up at a thrift store or I got them at a yard sale. I can't remember. Now, tongs. I mean, for a tool that you can grab stuff with, could be useful. Now, what I usually use this for is for fire-related reasons. So I don't have to. It's easier to pick up something with from both sides, like a stick or whatever, so I can do something. If this was burning, so I could just pick this up, turn it, especially if you're have a fire going and stuff like that, and you know, maybe you're not cutting everything down to size, and you know, you want to flip it because their side hasn't been burnt yet or whatever, right? Tongs are useful. I also use it with like my char cloth tin or charring tin. So example, if this was charring tin, I just flip it over, so you know, make sure it evenly chars both sides, I guess, for lack of a better word. I mean, I guess you probably could use this for reaching something you couldn't reach. For example, let's say, yeah, let's say you drop something in heating duct or whatever, and you can't reach it with your bare hands. You know, this something like this might give you extra reach. right? And this is why I like to use this now for fire, is because I can get in there. But now I'm hoping to get longer ones eventually, but that way I can just get in there, grab it. I get a good grip because it's on both sides, right? And I can easily manipulate this to pick up other stuff, right? So let's say, you know, let's say this, it could be like a metal, like for example, this was boiling water. I could pick it up out of the fire, for example, especially if I'm not using something like a fish mouth spreader. Now I know fish mouth spreaders are used with containers like water bottles because you can suspend it and stuff like that. And in theory, and because I've actually done it before, if you actually with wire, right? Because everyone knows, here we go. Here's a metal water bottle right here. Now, everyone knows that there's a lip on these metal water bottles, right? Well, you can actually, let's say you got metal wire of some sort, snare wire, brass wire, or whatever, you can actually, around the lip, and tie this at the top so it's nice and tight, so it holds it together, and basically this would actually work. And I've actually tried this with these tongs outside with a metal water bottle full of water. I just, basically I would just tie with metal type cordage, like snare wire or whatever, around, make sure it's nice and taut. So basically the tongs are pushing against the sides so it doesn't want to slip out, and because these metal bottles have a lip, it'll grab onto that lip. And yes, I have tried that out. It can work, providing that whatever you use to tie to hold the tongs together can keep it together. And obviously metal would be better because it's more heat resistant, or heat proof, I guess, right? So obviously you're not gonna use like bank line or jute line or paracord for that reason. So let's see here. So yeah. Any ideas for tongs? I just kind of came up with a few ideas right there. Maybe you guys haven't considered. I guess, if you had a fire starter or whatever, I guess you could, with fire related, hold it. Instead of, you should probably be using a stick because the stick would burn and add to the flame source. But let's say it's I don't know, stormproof match, I don't know, or something like that. I guess you can extend the reach, but I would probably prefer to use a stick just because the stick will burn after and provide me a little extra fuel for the fire. So let's see here. Kaylynn says, I would use that to pick up wild edibles if I can't reach it, or if it's behind a thorny bush or a branch, or poison ivy, or oak, sumac, or grabbing fish. I could if I couldn't have a net. That's a great idea, Kaylynn. It's a great idea. Gives you that extra reach. Let's say, because you can't reach it by hand, or it's too dangerous, or you don't want to get anything on your hands. And let's say you don't have gloves on, but and stuff like that. That's good. That's good. I mean, like handling, like everyone knows that you can handle raw meat with this, right? Then afterwards, get some boiling water, stick them inside, so you can disinfect them, or stick them over a fire and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, that works, right? So maybe you're flipping your, let's say, meat catch, animal, fish, crustacean, or whatever it is, right? And go like, be like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Flip that meat, flip that log, flip my my charring container, so the other side gets hot too, so I can actually char both sides of it and get it done fast. Or something like that. I'm not sure what else you could use these for. I mean, like, aside from actually breaking them, I guess once you break them, I guess you don't have access to tongs, so I mean, like, just looking at this one right here, I mean, like, in theory, I guess I could try to make, like, a peg with it, but because it's tongs, there's only two. Usually with pegs, you need four, so maybe, but I wouldn't do it unless I had to. Now, there's other tongs that are available. There's those ones that are, like, more like, not like, like these ones that are like scissors, but they're like this V shape where you just clip the, no, um, hold the ends and their end will kind of sandwich together. Everyone's used to seeing those with like let's at restaurants and stuff like that. It's very very common. I mean, those that might work with some of the stuff that I just talked about, but it probably won't work with the bottle so much. This works better with the bottle, just because it's more streamlined and I can just tighten that part down and kind of get my tongs around that opening of the, well, the outside opening lid of rim of the bottle and go from there. Whew. Let's see here. I just heard a loud thunder boom. I think it's gonna slide and hit the sand. Oh, okay. Okay. Jeez, I was gonna say Texas Holster. Thank you for coming by, Kaylynn. And like I said, you're getting a special channel spotlight for this video. Well, for this live stream, anyways, which I'll enter in after I finish this off. I probably will go for another 15, 20 minutes at the most. It is actually getting late here. Jeez, it's coming closer and closer to midnight here, so as I realize how long I've been doing this for, and I still have to timestamp my everything in there. I guess I guess I'll wait for Texas Holster to come back here. Well, I don't want to leave, but I'm also getting hungry. I'll just talk about food too, and tonks. I think what I'm gonna do is take a break for a bit here, because my mouth's starting to dry out from talking so much, and you know, I gotta rest for a little bit here. And besides, I wanna keep this live stream to the topic at hand. So, I want to say a special thanks to everyone that's been very supportive of the channel, for dropping by these live streams, checking out my content. You know, I appreciate the feedback everyone gives, the input, the constructive criticism, the constructive feedback, the positive feedback, and all that stuff. I want to say special thanks to everyone that's been, you know, just being good people, I guess, for lack of a better term. So, I guess it's time for my outro here. Well, before I do that, you know, if you haven't already, hit up that thumbs up if you haven't already, especially if you're enjoying the content and you've been sticking around the last 3 hours of this live stream and checking out what I've been doing, and maybe anyone that's still watching, you know, leave me a comment on any of the items with a date, not date stamp, but a timestamp of the time, so I can refer to it again, of any of the items I've shown. Maybe you have a different idea that the side chat or me hasn't brought up. I'm pretty sure I mentioned everything that I saw. So, now as the world changes, so must oneself. To reach a new level of skill and knowledge, one must practice. Now, a single person can't help everyone in this world, but one person can help someone in this world. Alright guys, until the next video from me on YouTube, it's peace out from the guy always in creation mode. CR. And I'll catch you later on the next video / live stream. Peace out. And thanks.